About to start a live. About to start a live. Okay. So let's invite some people. Oh, live, baby. So we'll wait a few minutes and we will invite my buddy Nerses Can. Pites ure Nerses. So Nerses, you'll see, there you go. Oh. Whoa. Why is it saying unable to join? Nerses Can, for some reason it says unable to join for yours. Hi everyone. Nerses, I'm not sure. For some reason it's saying that it is that for you it says unable to join. Are you can you possibly figure that out and maybe we can go to perhaps someone else in the list during this? Would that be okay, John? I'm not really sure what exactly it is. So, I guess that's something that probably we should have tested out. Can I try now? It says Nerses must upgrade the app in order to join. You got to upgrade the app, man. So why don't you upgrade the app and I will show them a little video of you in the process. Okay? Hi Nare. Hi everyone. So while Nerses upgrades the app, I can answer some questions and tell you guys what this is, and kind of what the purpose of this is, and I can also embarrass Nerses, which is always a lovely. It's actually like one of my hobbies now. So Nerses, when Nerses comes back in, he'll just request, and hopefully it works. If not, we'll go to the next person and figure that out. So hello everyone. My name is Samuel Armen. I am hosting this Instagram live session, which is starting off wonderfully, and the goal is to broadcast to different communities around the world. I feel that while language is a barrier for many people, we've worked hard to translate things to make it accessible to people who primarily speak Mandarin, Arabic, all these different languages. Hi everyone. One of the things is location. It's another barrier. So we wanted to essentially work towards sort of combating that. So that's essentially what we did. We have people from over 18 cities from all around the world. I think 5 different continents. And I think it's going to be something special. The main goal is to broadcast. So please, please, please send this to your friends, especially friends who haven't really been exposed to this. People who are non-Armenian, people who are wondering what's going on. And that kind of leads to the second part of this. Love you too, Natalie. Nerses, let's see. There you are. I don't want to celebrate too early. Johnny,
Hey,
I warned some of my lady friends to not objectify you because of your handsomeness. My phone's overheating now. Look at this. Nerses, can I ask you a question?
yeah, sure.
Before we start the interview, or this discussion, I need to ask. There's this adorable kid that I see. Can you tell me who this is?
Hi, my name is Arnoqyan. Number
Yeah.
from the today I'm here.
Is that
Okay,
is that
Stefan.
yours?
That's me back in 2013.
I'm also
Can you tell us what you're doing here?
This is the Co-op 10th annual gala,
was
Mm-hmm.
and I was one of the speakers with the girl standing next to me.
I would like to tell you about.
Her name is Anahid,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, I was 16 years old there, and you can see me shy right now.
Yeah. That's how I wanted to start this off.
Oh my God.
Narcissus, there's so many things I want to talk to you about, but the three things that I've been tasked with ensuring that we do definitely talk about, and I want this perspective from all of the people from everywhere, is first, you should probably introduce yourself, but the three things I'm going to ask you is, one, in your perspective, what is going on? What is this thing that's happening from the way that you would define it, not the way that the New York Times or any of these other magazines or newspapers or websites would try and spin it? Just from your heart, like, what do you see happening? That's the first. The second question I'm going to be asking everyone is, why is it important for people to urgently get involved now? And the third is, what are different ways in which you see people helping, contributing, whether it's, I mean, where you are, you see it in real time. What do you see of the soldiers? What do you see of the people in Yerevan? What do you see outside? Whatever it is that you feel is an important way to answer this question. But before any of that, who are you? Tell us who you are, where you are.
Well, I guess you're doing it better than I. So, would you mind doing it by yourself?
No, because
Okay,
I'm
I'll
not
do
going to
it.
be humble about you.
Okay, I'll do it. Well, as you already know, my name is Nerses, and I'm here in Armenia, and I'm from Armenia, and I live in Yerevan now. I'm 23 years old and working at Children of Armenia Fund, aka Co-op, and now I'm doing the alumni networking stuff. By position, I'm alumni programs coordinator. Well, I would like to know, the main topic is going to be about the war happening now between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Just wanted to let you know that once I was part of it, because I was in the army back in 2016. I don't know if you guys remember, when a kind of large scale of war happened between Armenia and Azerbaijan, and I was in Artsakh doing my military service. And what else should I tell you? I've been raised with Co-op since I was a kid, and yeah, now I'm part of the staff.
Tell us about that experience in 2016, if you'd like to, and then maybe we'll go to the first question as to what do you think is going on. You know, interpret that any way you want. Like, what do you think is really going on? We're told that it's a war. I think that's not the right title, but I think you can name it a million things. Calling it a war makes it sound like it's an equal thing where two sides are aggressors, et cetera, and it's only two sides and things of that sort. The wars can be many people. So my question is, first, tell us about your experience, a little bit about your experience in Artsakh, what you saw, how you felt about it, and then tell us what you think is happening here.
Okay, but just before we go to that points, here is another good comment from Olafur01, and it's saying, plug your earbuds because we can hear an echo of what you can listen from Nerses. Would you mind we fix this and then we move on?
Done.
I hope this is much, yeah, this is better. This is much more better. Well, okay. Let me tell you about my experience back in 2016 when I was a
Mm,
soldier in Artsakh. That time, actually, I was a 1 year soldier, if we can say something like this.
mm,
And I started my military service in 2015, and I had to finish it in 2017.
okay.
And by position, I was a medic, providing any medical help, providing when it was not there was not no war. And I remember being in the front line, and that was the last day that we had to change our places. So we have to go down, and the people come to change us. And the interesting fact is that we went back, and immediately we got an alarm saying that something is happening on the front line. So we had to go back to the front line, and we've been there already for 15 days. And it was kind of like stressful for us because 15 days is, being on the front line, those difficulties I bet you know about those being in the armies and stuff. And yeah, we
I
went
don't.
back. Well, you don't. It's kind of, I'll tell you, it's kind of like you're taking shower once in a week. You are drinking the water. Like it's difficult to get the water there. I'll talk about this a little bit more. But yeah, so we went back to the front line, and it was a large scale of artillery, and we hardly could get in. And then I remember we had nothing to eat because the truck is providing us food is being fired by Azerbaijan soldiers, and it was difficult to provide us food. And we've been eating a one bread with 20 people, 15 to 20 people for 4 days. And imagine like, this is something like, a fantasy, but yeah, it was possible to eat one bread with 15 people. And just to be short, I remember we got one injury there, and as a medic, I had to save his life. And that was stressful for me because it was the very first time I'm doing it, because of not having any educational background, but just because what co-op gave me with the a healthy lifestyle club I learned back in school. I got a medic with that education, and I remember like being stressful. What should I do? And then I like, okay, just calm down and do whatever you learn. And the first thing I had to do was to provide the first aid. The rest will doctor do, and I did it. And I remember like the guy's calling me till now. He's calling me like, dude, you saved my life because you did the first aid very like correctly, and doctors are saying who did this. And I was like, okay. Well, it was all what I learned from co-op. And definitely the scale was not this much large what is happening right now, because it was just like 4-day war. We used to call it 4-day
Yes.
war, but this is, the scale is way too much larger.
Yeah.
And
My best friend, Christopher Yaglian, just messaged saying amazing. He's a physician's assistant, so he works in a hospital in the medical field. And when someone like Chris says that's amazing, like it's not just anyone saying it's amazing. It's someone who experiences that kind of stuff. So just so you know, that is amazing. He's
yeah,
right.
thank you so much. That's very nice of you. Thank you so much. Well, but yeah, but this is, it's kind of difficult for 18 years old guy to take this much responsibility. And when whether you're going to save his life or you're going to lose him, this is like extremely increasing the responsibility you had. And well, I better change the view and now talk about what's happening right now. And being here in Armenia and feeling all about it as being Armenian, it's way too much difficult for me to talk because I've never experienced this much disaster in my life.
Yeah.
And the thing is that 2020, September 27, I will always remember, but that day, because it was the day that we just woke up in a war. It was a Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, and I was enjoying my weekend, and I remember the volume was extremely high and saying like Azerbaijan is shelling and stuff like this, and I was like, what the hell? Am I dreaming right now? Is it my dream or something? And then I woke up and there was all social media that talking about Azerbaijan attacked Artsakh. And then a bit later we learned that they are backed up with Turkey, and then there are also mercenaries from Syria fighting for Azerbaijan, which is not new for us because back in 1992 this was also the Azerbaijan plan, but this time it's much more planned, let's say. And then one by one the proofs presented themselves, and not only from Armenian side, there are video from Syrian side itself and so on. And Russia and France also confirmed this fact, not to mention our people seeing them with their own eyes.
Yeah.
And you know what is absurd for me is that from our side, well, we always separate civilians and the soldiers. But from our side, 18 to 20 years old were the vast majority to have the fight to protect our rights. So no, for me, there is no such divide. For me, the soldiers are the same peaceful civilians who just have to do it in need, to do it because the life of the nation is at stake. And of course, older, more experienced volunteers join to the young people from day two. But again, these people are our families, our friends, our neighbors. There's literally no one here that does not have someone in the front line. So I repeat that there is no actual divide for us. There is no civilian and a soldier. It's way too much personal for us. And I also want to talk that the Azerbaijan is using heavy artillery shelling, let's say, civilian structures such as hospitals, schools, and churches, which is, I think we have to emphasize at this period. I thought, just because I thought in 21st century, war was not an option, you know.
Not like this,
yeah. And because of this, a lot of people from Artsakh had to leave their homes since it was not safe anymore. And by talking about Co-op, I want to mention that we at Co-op help these families, providing them with the shelters and supplies, as well as psychological and health other services. Our programs and social workers are working nonstop just to provide everything they can do, and do not leave any family unattended. And just go on.
No, keep going. I mean, I was just saying, like, it's absolutely, devastating. I mean, even though I see it from here, from New York, and I see the videos every single morning, waking up and seeing it, it's unfathomable. Like, I don't know, we're all trying our very best. So people are doing so many different things. I want you to continue, but I do have a question afterwards.
Yeah. Do you want to ask now or afterwards? Okay.
Afterwards, yeah.
So just move to your second question, was about why it is important for people to know about what Turkey and Azerbaijan are doing right now.
Yes.
Well, to talk about this, I want to mention that this conflict is ours, but also it's dangerous for the world itself. As we know, like, terrorists are actively being part of this world, fighting against Armenia. And I don't know if you know, but 1 month ago, the president of Artsakh, if I'm not mistaken, stated that it's a huge warning for the world because it might cause a big problem, because terrorists are being active, and no one paid attention to it. And you can see what's going on right now. We heard about the stuff happening in France. We heard badly things happening in Austria. and I'm afraid to say that this is going to be a little bit larger than what we saw already.
Yeah.
And one thing, which is a historical thing, I want to talk about this. This is also dangerous because Turkey is trying to realize its plan called Pan-Turkism.
Tell us what that is.
The Pan-Turkism is the idea of united all Turkish-speaking countries under one flag, under Turkey's flag, which is being part from Turkey. And if you can imagine map on your mind as being part from Turkey and going right to the east, under like a little bit under the China and something like this.
So the 6 like Turkic states are
Exactly.
states, nations, all uniting, which would subsume us,
Yeah.
which would eliminate us.
Yeah, and if you again imagine the map, you can see that the only reason is Armenia, because it's stuck in between Turkey and Azerbaijan, and this is a problem for Turkey to realize its dream.
Yeah.
Um,
And they won't realize their dream because they're no good.
Yeah. Well, why I'm telling this global issue, because I'm not sure if the world wants another Turkish empire to be on the map. And this is a good opportunity for Turkey to do its dream.
Yes.
Another reason that people should care about this, that if you believe in human rights and humanity, I think it's not should be selective about that. Because
wait, can you say that again? That was such a good statement. If you believe in human rights, you should not be selective about it. That's something that, as a New Yorker, you know, there's a lot of people here that are very big. I have looked at them with such admiration about certain things about LGBTQ rights, about certain things with equal pay, with the minimum wage, with Black Lives Matter, with all of these different entities, and whether we agree or disagree with any of the legal politics of it, we understand that they genuinely want people to be okay, despite who they are, who they like, or anything like that. They want people to be okay, and maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of Armenians that I know are advocates for these sort of things. You know. That we do everything we can. We see something horrifying, like the George Floyd thing, and we share it ourselves to help broadcast that voice and say, I'm here too. I'm not going to speak for you, but I will amplify your voice. And the fact that not many people or not enough people, I should say, are doing the same for us, when this is something that is existential. You know, if Turkey does achieve its dream, that would be, I don't want to end that sentence, but it would be something that is irrevocable. We would never be able to get back. And it's been almost 42, it's 40 days now, 41 days.
That's almost 49 days.
Yeah.
So back to the human rights, I was talking, because of the situation, so many people have lost their trust in human rights organization, have lost hope for humanity, but it should not be the case. If one life matters in other part of the world, then it should matter in another as well.
Absolutely.
People shouldn't turn a blind eye to the situation where a dictator leader is committing numerous war crimes, such as decapitating prisoners of war,
and broadcasting it to the world. It reminds me of I always forget his name when I need to know it. Was it Ramil Safarov, the guy who
Ramil Safarov?
You know, cuts off a guy's head, an Armenian's head, an Azeri, cuts off his head at a NATO-sanctioned event. And even though he was imprisoned, I think in Hungary, where it occurred, when he was in Turkey, when he was in Azerbaijan, he was received like a hero, was given 10 years of back pay, was promoted militarily. And forgive me to everyone here, that's fucking crazy. If you're cutting off someone's head I don't like a lot of people in politics. I I hate Erdogan, obviously. I wouldn't cut off his head in his sleep. I would imprison him. I
Yeah,
wouldn't cut off his head in his sleep. And he's the person that has made me lose 100 hours of sleep, and that's such a big difference. We don't have this like this evil inside of us, and it's unbelievable. And Nunes said it. They let him go. He was allowed to be extradited because of these
yeah.
stupid rules.
These are some, these are like things that that can cause a huge problem for as I mentioned, some organization doing human rights, because like definitely Armenians are not believing, like they no longer believe like their human rights exist, human rights exist, because they're seeing something happening like this. And not only that, they're also using forbidden weapons, such
Like
as
the white phosphorus, right?
yeah, white phosphorus, which burn 100 exophores. And you
You
should
know,
always
it's amazing. One of the people that's going to be on soon was talking about like, well, if this is your land, and she does it way better than I ever could. Ani, who will be on a little bit later, said like, if this is your land, why are you destroying it so eagerly?
well, Nara is telling that it's because they've been taught violence while they're alive.
Even when they're children, especially
Yeah.
when they're children, actually, that's the easiest time to do it. Nair says, just as a thing, because I would never want to cut you off, you have about a little bit less than 5 minutes left. Okay, John?
Okay. Okay. Cool. So
I suspect we'll do this again, though.
yeah. Just in my speech, I want to talk about one of my friends I lost um, during this day, and his words are stuck in my head. You know who I'm talking about, the Vahe.
Yeah.
He was always angry, asking, why is there always money for war and not for an education? And now it became my goal to try to change this perspective, that instead of building armies, nations should build schools and invest in the development of their own countries. So after it's all over soon, we all need to rebuild Artsakh, and we will need to do it fast. So I see so many people donating right now. Just want to say very much thank you, all of you, because you're doing an incredible job being a Armenian living in diaspora, having your
Nessus,
contribution.
you're my first caller, and I'm already crying.
Come on, that's it. Thank you so much.
I I want to say one thing. I said it in the speech in New York, but I don't know who has seen it and who hasn't. It seems like it's more people than I thought. Um, Vahe very much saw you as a hero, and I know for a fact that he's not the only one because I personally see you as a hero. Not just because you have served. It's not just about that. It's because you see it in almost everything you do. You're a protector. You are that type of person that would shield the people they love with everything they have in their energy. And I see that in so many of my friends, so many of the people who are donating, so many of the people who are sharing, Odars as well, non-Armenians. But I want you to know that when as it comes to heroes, like you're one of the biggest heroes I know, and I know that Vahe felt the same way about you, just from the way he looked up to you. Okay, I want to know that I love you, and having the honor, uh, having the honor of knowing you for so long, and seeing you as a little Johnny, and now seeing you as a older Johnny that. I have a few girls who messaged me saying he said he's 18. I was like, no, that was just during the war. He's not 18. You're gonna get a lot of friend requests soon, I think. Just know that to me you're an absolute hero, and I love you, and I
I
can't
love you
think of
too.
any words beyond that because even the best, most positive things I can say are the ground floor of the building, the monument I want to build for people like you.
Thank you so much, Sam. Really, it's very nice of you. And yeah, there are a bunch of many heroes here in Armenia that need to be discovered. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
they will be,
we will rebuild together. That I promise.
we will read it
That I
together,
promise.
right?
Okay. Hajagotchun Kishepari Janig.
Thank you so much.
Love you, man. Wow. So I'm I'm crying, and I'm gonna stop crying because I don't want to in front of all of you. But we have Nune. Nune is also a phenomenal human. Where did she go? Nune, there she is. So we're just waiting for this to load, and then we get Nune coming in live. Hi, Nune John.
Hi, do you see me? It looks like you don't.
No, I do not.
How about now?
Perfectly. Hi, Johnny.
My camera was not perfect. Hi, hello
Hi,
everyone.
John. So, Nune, tell us first where you are and who you are.
Yeah, so, well, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me here and good, time of the day to everyone who is here. Thank you for joining. I think it's a wonderful initiative, and again, like it's a pleasure to be here. I am right now in Moscow, and I was raised actually here. It's the one of the geopolitical, important points in my life. But I'm living in New York these days. And just happened to be in Moscow. And I'm a violinist, I'm an educator, I am an Armenian woman and someone who cares about Armenia dearly. In my everyday life and in my professional studies, I've been educating the world of North America for the past 10 years about the Armenian culture. I wrote a dissertation, the first English speaking dissertation about an Armenian composer of my passion, of the Soviet time, and yeah, rocked it all over the world with the Armenian music. So people heard about Armenian music for the first time in many occasions. It was because of my concerts or activities. So yeah, and I'm
So
just close to
you're a
home.
boss. You're
I'm
a
a boss.
boss.
I'm a boss babe. Yeah, I think every Armenian woman is probably a boss babe, to me at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. So my first question, I guess, and again, thank you for coming on. My first question for you is in your perspective from where you are, and I don't know if anyone missed it, but Nune is not just a Janig, she's an international Janig of mystery and music. She is often in, I would say, primarily Armenia. Sometimes you're in France, you're often in Russia, and you're often in New York. So you
In
see
Canada.
this and
Canada.
Canada. So you see many different Armenian communities because these are all hubs of the diaspora. They happen
Yeah.
to be hubs. Um, what the hell is going on from your angle? What do you see? What is this conflict to you? This conflict.
I think it's interesting, because and I posted just recently on my Facebook. It's just before, like, so I was actually born in the 90s, right? So you're born with, I don't even remember, like, I was actually trying really hard to remember the first time I heard about the Armenian genocide. I think I actually heard it from my sister. I might be mistaken. And it's so funny because I heard about the Armenian genocide and it became such an innate thing for me that when I'm trying to remember when I and who told me that, I can't. And that's a little bit scary. It becomes a part of your DNA, right?
Absolutely.
So and then you leave with that and you think, okay, like in 1915, okay, I should stop crying too. So in 1915, like a certain amount of people, which is like a huge amount of people, was just, violated of their, ripped of their rights and killed and exterminated for no reason. But then you always think in the past, and actually my arrière-grand-mère, my grandmother, she remembered, actually, she told me like an interesting story. She was a kid and she actually witnessed one of the atrocities as she was a kid. And you know, you live with that, and then you go on with your life. You're busy and you just have this, you know, young, you know, ending of family name, and it just becomes a part of your heritage. And now what's going on, it's just another genocide that suddenly became a part of our routine, that becomes a part of our everyday life. And that's the scariest part for me. That's something that has been sort of historical fact for us, for our generation, for sure, you know. I haven't seen the war of 1992 simply because I was like a toddler. I was just a baby. So I don't remember that. I haven't seen those things. Of course, I know Monte Melkonian. Of course, I know the Operation Ring. I know all of those things. But again, like, you see them from outside, and then you read those books, you know, and historical books, and they're pretty traumatizing. And I like didn't finish any history books. Like I got a confession. I could finish like you know, history books of Rome, France, like you name it. But I could never finish a history book of Armenia, because I couldn't. I still can't. So my knowledges are pretty patchy because of that. But I get the picture. I know the facts. And now what we're experiencing is that's happening in front of our freaking eyes, in front of the eyes of the entire world, international community. And then it really hits, well, in my case, it really hit me differently. It hits you differently. Now you understand that, oh, it's not just something that happened to our grandfathers and the stories and the movies. It's happening to us. And as you know, it seems that it's safe for us because we're in New York and Manhattan and Sydney and Tokyo and Toronto. It's not safe. Like, we are not okay. And for us, realizing that other kids, 18-year-old kids, are just being slaughtered, you know, for no reason. The kids are being burned, their skins are being burned out.
No reason at all. You're right, because they're not fighting for a particular, they're not even fighting for a particular concept, because the reason they tell themselves is they're freeing their land, or rather we'll say the government says is they're freeing, or what's the word, liberating their land. In almost no understanding. I mean, Artsakh made its declaration of independence, not declaration of independence, but declared its independence before Azerbaijan became its own entity. So
19 days, yeah.
So you just can't, in no interpretation, in no logical interpretation, does any part of Artsakh belong to Azerbaijan, in zero interpretations. So they're not really doing it off anything. Meanwhile,
what we have to understand, I'm sorry to cut you off, but we have to understand a little bit what's going on. So oftentimes, their main argument, the Azeri side, is that, oh, it's legally by UN, it's accepted. And somehow we just accept those things. Oh, yeah, like, I actually started getting into that question. I don't know how about you. And there's so many papers that don't say, and like, there's actually no papers that actually says that Karabakh, you know, is the territory of Azerbaijan. Moreover, I was actually going to talk about that. We gotta understand that, again, and I'm not talking about Azerbaijan people, because I know some great, you know, Azerbaijan people, Azeri people, and I actually, like, I taught some Turkish kids, so I can't talk about the nation, but I can talk about the government. And every time I say Turkish or Azeri, I want to make that note, okay? That's about government. It's not about.
It's very smart too, because they try and pretend that this is a racist thing when it's clearly not.
It's not. It's not even a religion thing. And but when I'm in my speech, when I'm going to say like Azerbaijan and Turkey or Azeris, it's about the government dictatorships. As you say, it's not even countries; it's dictatorships. Yes. But we gotta understand that we're dealing not even with animals, because animals have their logic. We're dealing with people with no boundaries, with no moral principles, etc. As they're beheading our soldiers and, you know, the prisoners of war, they're doing the same thing on a legal level. They have been doing that. They're continuing to do that, and they will be probably doing that. So I think Armenians, that we just gotta understand at some point that we're dealing with, you know, wild, wild, like wild, wild west, you know. And there actually, I don't know if you knew about that. I actually prepared a little note. There was I don't know if you heard about this. This is actually a very little known fact because we know about Cars agreement. But there is a CERS agreement that was written in 1920, if I'm not mistaken, in a French city. And yeah, so it was in the August of 1920. It was in it's called SERV, agreement, and it's the alliance of Versailles and Washington. And it was like at the end of the First War, like World War One. And by that agreement, that Ottoman Empire actually accepted, the Armenia was pronounced as a free and international country. The Armenia was supposed to have the access to the Black Sea. Georgia was supposed to get the railroad through Armenia, and they also were supposed to make Kurdistan a free country. So it
What
was
was the
all
name of that document?
Serve agreement. It's the city Serve. It's a French city Serve, and it was written in. It was signed August 10th, 1920. So the United Nations know about that agreement with the Ottoman Empire. And it was you know, of course, Woodrow Wilson. He was the one who was really pushing that agenda. He loved Armenia very much. So by the letters, actually, like the agreement exists. The only thing, the Turks, again, they sort of tricked the entire thing, and I think there was like a technicality that they didn't sign it, but they accepted it. And again, like I'm not a legal attorney, like I'm not, it's not my education, but as the Woodrow Wilson was pushing that agenda to actually be working, Turkey attacked. Like, so again, like Turkey just disregards everything that the legal teams or the legislations, they're just disregarding everything. And they're, as he was pushing that agenda and was pressing Turkey to like make sure that they're applying everything that was written in the agreement, like in September, Turkey attacked Armenia. So we gotta understand, I think Armenians at some point, we have to understand that, speaking about the war, Azerbaijan and Turkey, we're just not dealing with normal people. We're dealing with people of no moral principles, no boundaries, and I think their hatred and their idea of, in a way, supremacy, is just blinding them, in the point. So I don't know. I think we're just dealing with another genocide here, and we gotta act quickly, and we have to be united in order to stop it.
There's one thing you said. It becomes a part of your DNA. How sad, like how miserable, how angry, how you look at everything we do, everything that's part of our culture. There's a reason why our families are overfeeding us all the time. There's a reason. We weren't just crucified, and I don't mean like metaphorically, I mean crucified. We weren't just, raped and killed. We were starved to death. A majority of us were marched through a desert wearing little to no clothing and just died. We would just die because they didn't want to expend any weaponry on us that they would need for the war. And it's unbelievable. You said it becomes part of your DNA. I want to say one thing about that. I mean, and you also said another genocide. See, some people just say the second genocide, and I feel uncomfortable by that, because you have the one in 1890s, you have 1915 to 1921, you have many different moments. I know that the Azeris love to say, what about Khojali? What about Khojali? There were so many things much worse than Khojali. If Azeris want to say that they are Turks, then they have to bear the brunt, or bear the same, I don't want to say cross, but bear the same blame for these kind of atrocities. And even if they didn't, even if they're like, no, that was Turkey, not us, because they're selective here, which they are, they still have committed so many atrocities that, and it's not a defense of Khojali. Khojali was one of our sins. But you compare it to the mountain of blood that they've caused, we have to make sure that, right now we are living the pages of what will be the future history of the next genocide, we have to make sure that this one is recognized and this one can never be denied.
I just wanted to say a quick thing about Khojaly because I think it's extremely important for every single Armenian to know that what really scares me the most, and I think that's where we're really getting into a very dangerous situation, and that's why I make a distinctive, it's a distinctive thing between Azerbaijan government and Azerbaijan people.
Yeah.
That Khojaly was orchestrated by the Azerbaijan government, and their hatred and their Armenophobia is so big that they are willing to sacrifice their own people in order to harm the reputation of Armenians. And actually it bothers me a little bit. I don't know, maybe because my grandfather was Dashnak. My grandfather was great-grandfather. He was killed by Turks, and I'm gonna tell you this story because I think it's pretty. It's a little bit. It's not completely appropriate, but I'm gonna tell you this story. So my grandfather was an extremely rich guy in Georgia because my mother's family comes from there, and he was on the sur la frontière, on the border, and he was constantly, he was a very rich guy. He had a lot of gold in his house, and he was already in his 80s.
Nunejan?
Yeah.
Gamatz, it's okay. You have 15 minutes.
Yeah, I just drank coffee and it's 11:30, so I think I'm not sleeping yet.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah, and just before that I took a nap. So he was a rich man, and then so the Turks would come and bother him all the time, and he was nationalistic, and I think I get it from him. Our entire family gets. My mother is very feisty too, so it's on my mother's line. And then at some point he was already in his 60s or something. The Turks come to his house and say, where is your gold? Give us your gold. And he shows in the area a little bit below his stomach, and he says, here is your gold. And they kill him. So my grandfather pretty much told the Turks, sorry for my French, to fuck off, and they killed him. And this story just repeats in my mind, well, first of all, I think he was a badass, and second,
sounds like it. Absolutely.
How terrible that someone just comes to your house, wants something from you, and then kills you. It's mind-blowing, So yes. That's exactly what's going on right now with Artsakh. They're telling the same thing. Where's your gold? So I think it's not a second genocide as you rightfully mentioned. It's the fifth or sixth, or I don't know. It's a continuous. The genocide hasn't stopped. It has started 300 years ago, and it hasn't stopped yet. And Armenians gotta change something. You actually asked what we should do. We should absolutely change our way of reaction, our way of dealing with it, dealing with our trauma, and our way of responding. Also, we not only have to defend. I adore the Armenian soldiers, and there's no one comparable to our soldiers, but we have to learn just a little bit, and I'm saying is probably one of the most peaceful people on planet Earth. Honestly, I'm a pacifist, but we gotta learn a little bit of aggression.
When your eyes are angry, I think that's enough, because that'll make someone else peaceful.
We were on a protest. You were there at the UN, right? And there was this guy. We were afraid to stop the traffic, and then this guy stood up afterwards and he said, we should stop being so nice, Armenians. We have to be a little bit more, assertive.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is our culture. This is thousands and thousands of years of our culture, that we are educated. We don't want to bother people. Every time I go to the protest, as much as I understand the importance of this protest, I understand also that I might be bothering someone. I'm bothering someone's, course of the day. And when, they had an accident on the George Washington Bridge, I felt bad for the rest of the day. I was like, somebody actually had an accident. They're going to deal with the insurance. What if I was thinking about that. So we're also affecting other people's lives, but we don't have the choice. We got to make sure that our voices are risen.
You're right. You're right. We have to be more aggressive is, I think, the right word. Usually it's not the right word, but we do. I mean, if the volumes we're speaking right now aren't enough, then we turn up the volume a little bit more, a little bit more. And it's tough because you also don't want to look like the aggressor. You don't want to look barbaric. You don't want to look stupid or overly emotional. But when an attempted genocide that includes burning the skin, cutting off ears, decapitating and broadcasting it and celebrating it, when it includes those things, it's really tough to find that emotional balance. Johnny, you have a question. Can you talk about the difference in information both of you say about Khojaly? I don't know the history very well, and I'm confused by the different narratives.
So yeah, what happened in Khojaly is that at some point, during the war, our Armenian soldiers, Armenian army got completely blocked.
The
so
7-year war.
Surrounded.
Yeah.
Yes, and so what Armenians did, again, being as nice as we usually are, they started saying to, using the megaphones because the Khojaly was the closest city. They started advising the Azerbaijan side for a month, and there is documentation to that. That guys, you blocked us. Like the only way for us not to die is to get through the city. So we're gonna enter to the Khojaly. Please make sure to evacuate your people. Again,
your civilians,
the civilians, like the civilians, of course, like the women and children and stuff. So for almost a month, Armenians were doing that. That's the usual war protocol. You're supposed to do those things. So we did everything right. So Armenians wouldn't know whether or not
everything right.
Yeah,
because of how this story ends.
Armenians wouldn't know whether or not that happened, but when they entered the Khojaly, what they realized is that, oh my God, there are like thousands of civilians here, and they're all there. So what Armenians did during the war that was already in the city, they actually provided a safe corridor for people, and they were actually covering Azerbaijan people to safely go through this tunnel. They were saving Azerbaijan civilians, and again, numerous accounts, witnesses, etc. And I'm just gonna get to that in a second. So what Azerbaijan did, and that would really makes my blood boil, and I have goosebumps. Azerbaijan soldiers started hitting Azerbaijan civilians in order to say that Armenians are so violent. So that is something unbelievable. So then there was this photographer. I unfortunately forgot his name. He was an Azeri photographer. So when he came the first day to photograph the bodies, he made his reportage. He went back. He came back the second or third day, peu importe, and he saw that the injuries on these people's bodies were much more severe. So he started getting into that, and he was like, okay, this is weird. I'm going to investigate what really happened. So the Azerbaijan government told him, do not do that. I think his name was Magomedov. I might be mistaken.
After our call, which we have about 7 minutes left, and I'm gonna shut up in a second. You can find the name afterwards, and then just message it to us.
Yes, I will. Yeah. Yes, I will. And I will give you all the facts. If anyone is interested, please contact me. It's just, I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared to talk about Khojaly. So the government said, do not do that. Do not get meddled in it, because we're going to kill you. And I got to tell you that this Azerbaijan journalist, being an Azeri person, said, no, I'm going to do that nevertheless. So he actually did the investigation. He proved that the Azerbaijan government made the atrocities against its own people, but of course, and I think they started some legal litigation, and guess what? He once left his house and he got killed. The same situation happened to all of the Azerbaijan witnesses who did the same thing, who were trying to speak out the truth. That's why I'm saying that what was really scary is that Azerbaijan would rather kill their own people, but just to make sure that, so what happened in Khojaly, and again, it's
happening again now. I mean, you look at where they put their military equipment. They put it right next to the villages. So when or to the residential areas. So when we attack them or we respond back to their attacks, we're attacking at residential. That's not how this works. We're not aiming at civilian structures. We're aiming at military equipment that they're putting, even though they don't have to. There's so many like there's no reason for them to do it. If you look at the maps, and there's many now, you see that it's very tactically hidden, as if they don't care about their civilians. And there's 100 other things we can talk about what proof as to they don't care about their own civilians. But I think there's a huge similarity there between the sort of the truths that they're not really too hidden. They're hidden in Azerbaijan, definitely, but the truths about Khojaly and some of the things that are going on here with how they're treating their own people. And I'm sorry if now I'm ranting on your time, but it makes me think of not only the fact that they have among the most journalists in jail and all of these things, but it makes me think of why they don't want to have a ceasefire. You know, there's the idea of collecting the bodies and burying them properly instead of having them in the fields and disgusting things happen to them. When you are not reporting your numbers, which by the way, they're not reporting their numbers at all. There's no statistic anywhere saying that they're accurately reporting their numbers, their own numbers. There is, and I genuinely feel this, and Nuna, I'm so happy you said it. There are definitely Azeri mothers, fathers, grandparents, children who think that their brother, son, father, cousin, who has been fighting to liberate lands for the last 4 weeks, they think they've been doing that for the last 4 weeks when they've been dead for 2.5 weeks. And I think that that is a miserable thing, and it shows where their mind is. The second this war is over, Aliyev is finished, and he's not going to be finished necessarily by us. He's going to be finished really by his own monstrosity. And
I really do hope so. I really do hope so. And it was actually interesting you mentioned that. I was speaking about that. I was speaking about mothers because no mother wants, their kid to be dead. But at least, as terrible as it sounds, is that Armenian mothers at least know what happened, more or less, what happened for that. And also, I want to say that.
Or the day.
Yeah. Or the day, at least. I lived in I live in Kazan. It's a Tartar. It's an Islamic city, and what they're doing is also absolutely anti-Islamic. We have to make sure that we really understand the difference of that as well. So like
so
not
right.
burying the bodies.
You're
Not
so
burying
right.
the bodies. This is the worst thing that can happen to Muslim, and my heart goes to everybody who believes in Allah, because that's even a more bigger tragedy than actually losing someone. For them, it's not burying someone. So yeah, I hope Aliyev and his clan is going to be finished anytime soon. I just wanted to say one thing because I know we don't have time, but for this, I'm actually wearing the jacket, and my father actually went to army, and this is an Armenia army jacket. Yeah, and I actually even did a photo shoot with that with the violin. So he was the head of the construction. He was in the army in 77, 79 in Armenia. And I'm just out of so many accomplishments of my father, 80 patents, you name it. He's an incredible doctor. This is for me, it's the liberation sort of symbol.
Can you zoom out? I want to screenshot that. That's so cool.
Sure.
Be in it though. 1, 2. Let me see your face though, so we could see it's you. 1, 2. Shad love. Merci, John.
Sure.
That's so cool. That jacket's amazing.
I know. It's like a real jacket. It's super stylish. Look at that.
I mean, I think it's even more super stylish because it's on you.
Thank you. No, I think it just represents, how amazing our nation is. And my father being an incredible doctor, he made his duty, and he made sure that he was protecting his motherland when he was our age. So.
Nuna, we love you. There's so many hearts just flew by, which I'm sure, you make hearts fly by all the time, so it's normal for you. But I want to say thank you so much for telling us your story. And again, I do feel like this is going to happen again, that we're going to have these conversations again, even when we're rebuilding, because I think more people want to know the stories that you are clearly brimming with. Um,
Amazing.
but I do have to go because we have another guest. I want to say again,
Okay,
thank you.
guys, I love you all and harteloing, Kirachik. Everything's
Afternoon.
gonna be good. Harteloing.
Bye, John.
Bye.
Okay, so now we are going to get. I think Nuna John, you have to press that little X button.
Okay.
Bye, John. So now let's find Cassandra. There she is. So I mean, so far 2 guests, and now 2 more.
Hey, hi.
So how are you guys?
We're good. Doing good. Holding strong.
Good,
Trying
good.
as much
Always.
as. Hold on.
Did you see me in the beginning? Narcissus made me cry.
Yeah, I know. His stories were fantastic and so
Yeah.
real. I can't even imagine what it would be like to actually go through, like being conscripted, having to, you know, do that whole process, be in the army for 2 years, like especially for us who are in North America, like that's not something that we deal with.
So that's a great segue. Oh, sorry, Johnny.
I was just gonna say that's like a lot of right now. 'Cause
Your voice is kind of cutting in and out. Can you guys just be a little closer to the microphone, I guess?
yeah,
Beautiful.
is that better?
It sounds like it. Though curiously, your voice wasn't cutting out. Navart's was.
Let me try speaking again. I'll try projecting a little bit.
Perfect, perfect.
Yeah, I was just saying that kind of guilt, I think, contributes to a lot of the activity that we're seeing now. And it's like the mental health toll, and not only within the people who are experiencing actual combat trauma, but people who are seeing their family go through it and feeling this distance, and yet mentally being there. It's very taxing. So that's why we're
Yeah.
seeing so much energetic output, because I think a large part of it is motivated by that guilt.
100%. So before we even dive in, who are you? Who are you guys? Where are you?
Okay, I'll start. I'm Cassandra Bertucci. Already involved in the Armenian community, starting from HBU school, then going to Camp Nubad, which is where I met Sam. Went there for.
Jivan says, "Where is the power?"
Oh yeah, on the valley, obviously. And yeah, we can't donate in Canada, but you guys.
Well, there is Himna
Yeah.
Dharam that you can donate to.
Adram.org. That's where for Canadians to donate. We can't do the donate button.
Internationals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'll continue. Yeah, from there, basically, I've been involved in HBU Toronto chapter executive committee, also involved in our sports and youth committee.
And Navar, tell us a little bit about you.
So my name's Navart. Some of my non-Armenian friends may know me as Nuard. So I'm doing my master's right now in art history. I have a focus on, and I love history. That's kind of what drew me into all of that. I think we're all living, breathing parts of it, especially, being Armenian. We have so many ancient traditions and cultures that hold us in place. So, so my focus is actually on Armenian manuscript illumination from the 13th and 14th centuries. So that's the last times that Armenia was an independent state, the Kingdom of Armenian Kilikia. So diaspora identity and the way that the Armenians, both within Armenian Kilikia and the ones that had been left out of it in Metzhike, the ones who remained in their homeland while everybody else fled and established a new kingdom, how manuscript production influences the art in the region, and how this conscious attempt to preserve their culture and the way that cultures influence that, like this flexible kind of. So yeah, so that's what I'm looking at, basically through this lens as a diaspora Armenian who is born outside of Armenia and lives outside of Armenia, but still feels a very strong connection to her homeland. So
100%.
Born and raised in Toronto, and hers is a little bit more interesting than being born.
Tell us all about your global navigations.
So I was born actually in Johannesburg in South Africa. But my parents ended up leaving. They're both kind of from diverse Armenian backgrounds themselves. My mom has roots in Artsakh, so I'm named after my grandmother.
Your voice again is cutting out a little bit.
Okay,
I think it might be like the noise on my side actually. So try just say that again, that last sentence.
So I was born in Johannesburg. My parents left for great. My parents left Yerevan in the 90s because Azerbaijan had cut off the natural gas. So that's why I'm here. There weren't really many opportunities. People were starving, living without heat, electricity, basic living needs. So they left kind of, I guess, sporadically. I don't know. I think I don't really know what like then. Like a collective group of people decided to move to South Africa for a job opportunity, and my parents were two of those people. So I was born there along with my younger sister. We spent some years in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and then we moved to Canada in the year 2000, and that's where we've been living since.
That is absolutely wild.
Everywhere.
Yeah, that's incredible.
That is like a diasporan, like a diasporan squared.
Yeah.
Just a wandering, constantly like looking for a home when we all know where home is for all of us. It's the thing that unites us.
Yeah.
Tell us what do you in your perspectives, both of your perspectives. And I have to go to the bathroom soon, so I might run while you guys debate it or discuss it for a minute or so, but I'll have my headphones in. It'll be muted, don't worry. What is going on from your perspective? You guys have, like Nune, Navart, you have quite a you've been in many areas and you have a sort of a perspective that ranges. Cassandra, you have been in New York, you have been in Canada. You also have a different perspective than a lot of the people here. Can you tell us what, in your words, is going on?
So honestly, what I think this is an ethnic cleanse. They are trying to single-handedly erase Armenian culture, heritage, language, people off the you can see from the videos, I think you actually mentioned this yesterday in one of your IG lives, the video of the teachers teaching to hate Armenians to these like junior school, kindergarten kids. It's unbelievable. This hatred is ingrained from the day that they are born. So for them, for Azeris and Turks, the Turkish people, they really think that we are their enemies. I mean, of course, there are a lot of beautiful people from Turkey and Azerbaijan who know the truth, who have been more educated and have that opportunity to really get a better perspective of what's going on. But unfortunately, for the most part, this isn't the case.
It sounds almost like you're saying like it's kind of an inevitability for there to be this kind of genocidal hatred because of that level of rage and enmity that is indoctrinated, it's taught into them, it's inculcated into their curriculum.
Yeah, like I mean, from
Oh, so hold on. I found out what it is. It is 100% because whenever I make a noise or there's an asshole outside honking their horn, and any sort of sound, I guess, cuts you off. So I'm gonna just close the windows. Continue. I'm listening.
Yeah.
I might run to the bathroom too, though.
Yeah, that's okay. Just from what's been happening on Twitter and Instagram and even Facebook, all hateful messages and responses that I've been getting. Like they're really things that I wouldn't even want to repeat because it's just so horrible. And some of them, like, they're not bots. You can tell they're constantly responding, so you know that they're actually people who believe them, who are saying these things. And there was actually a video that was just released about Armenophobia, talking about these tweets in particular, these messages that, you know, Armenians from all over the world have been receiving. So it's unbelievable.
Yeah. And I think that to go off of that also, like this is saw that 100 we've been running from our lands that we're indigenous to ever since the Turkic tribes settled westward of their origins. And as somebody who studies the beginning of that, I can see, and the initial contact that drove the Armenian refugees to create the Kingdom of Kilikia, a diaspora kingdom. Of course, this is an inevitability. You know, like we look back in history and you can very kind of cleanly connect these dots, but when you're living it, it's very, very difficult, especially when there's so much emotionality around it, to recognize that this is, especially when, you know, considering it's your existence and your cultural bounds, that this is something that has been planned. This is something that is taught. This is something that is sanctioned. This is something that is systemic. And the way it stops is, you know, it stops when unlearning happens and democracy happens and people have a right to think and to act freely.
When these dictators somehow, some way, can finally step down or be overthrown by, you know, people actually stepping up and speaking out.
Absolutely.
A process can't happen overnight, right?
No, this is it's a long haul.
Yeah,
Well,
because you know, journalists who I believe genuinely believe the lies that they're presenting to the world.
Yeah.
On the Azeri side, I'm not talking about the ones that are bought here.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you sanitize a history. This is what happens when you don't look at the facts, and the facts are not, the truth is not celebrated. You know, this is why, like, misinformation, you'd think in an age of technology, exponentially made more and more. In fact, the opposite is true. We know that fake news, false information disseminates much faster than the reality does, especially when that reality confronts everything that, like, the very foundations of your own identity. And I think that's a big reason that, you know, like, onlookers to this conflict are what's happening. They don't recognize.
They can't even, you know, figure out, oh, wait, who do I believe? Who are the aggressors? You know, and it's like, to us, we're like, how can you not see the facts, right? But they're so, you know, like, even Charlotte, her journalism, like, it's mind blowing. I'm like, how can
blood money
she
do, though?
Yeah, it's like, how
That blood money, though, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, no, I mean, so, you know, one thing that I think of is I think of Germany, which is, to me, a pretty it's an impressive country in so many different ways. One of which being the way that it regards hate groups and stuff like that. They and I said it in the Instagram live that I was in yesterday. They don't take shit from anyone when it comes to hate groups, when it comes to cults. They don't take shit from anyone at all. The first stage in this kind of stuff is recognition. It's just like the first stage in any sort of trauma. Like, recognition is one of the first things that you need. You need to identify that there's such a thing that has happened. And it makes me think of the Jews in Germany. Martin Luther, from the Protestant Reformation, he tried to convert the Jews, obviously, into Christianity, and they didn't want to. Understandably, this was their culture. And he wrote a book. I think the full title is, I think the abbreviated title at least is "On the Jews and Their Lies." and disseminated and fostered what was already, to some degree, I don't like the word anti-Semitic, I think it's a silly word, but anti-Judaism. He was fostering that to some degree with that publication, but there wasn't a full-scale Holocaust until after World War I, after the Treaty of Versailles, after Germany was essentially brought to its knees and so desperate to find someone to blame for their current existence. And that, I think, is to some degree what's happening in Azerbaijan and Turkey as well, but mostly Azerbaijan. You know, most of their, you said that blood money, it's really, you know, that oil money, you know, they're losing. Aliyev has been in power since 69, meaning his lineage has been in power since 69. Do you think they're going to give up power?
No.
No.
Rebellion needs to happen for things to change.
Yeah.
That's the only way. That's what happened in Armenia. I know that
with
the
Velvet
situations are
Revolution.
entirely different, but the idea of a democratic state as the situation stands currently is very threatening to global powers. I think that's a reason why Armenia hasn't been seeing more support, especially, you know, people keep citing like Russia's going to help, Russia's helping, and I'm like, no, Russia doesn't want this.
They
Russia
definitely don't want to get involved. They're trying to stay as far away from it as possible, in my opinion. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I think to some degree, yeah.
And I think another point that I wanted to kind of tie in there in regards to just like an overview is that what we're seeing, and this is my perspective, but I think another thing of what we're seeing is colonialism and imperialism run rampant. And this is an idea that is not, like, humanity as it stands is not relegated to the confines of America. It's not just something where, like, this is a global truth. This is something that affects all indigenous people. The threat of colonialism, the threat of being eradicated, the threat of being separated from the land, because the land to colonizers is seen as a resource and as a way of monetary gain and power with which they uphold their imperialism and, you know, their genocidal campaigns. And to indigenous people, the land represents their existence. So you cannot have one without the other. And as, you know, as Canadians, like, what we're, it's just really another kind of I guess meta way of looking at this history is that we, you know, every Armenian has a reason, every Armenian member of the diaspora has a reason that they don't live within Armenia, whether it's, you know, economic failure that's tied to the fall of the Soviet Union, which was another example of colonialism, imperialism at play, or, you know, if it's genocide related, again, this,
or the earthquake.
Or the earthquake, yeah, which also
my uncle was actually going to university in Armenia when the earthquake happened, and after that
After that he what?
He left. He came back. He didn't end up finishing school because of that. So. Wow.
Oh man. I mean, that only underscores your point, Navar, that there's you know, psychological mechanisms that arise from this history that we're definitely 100% a part of right now, and we're witnessing it in real time, which is the most surreal part of it. It's literally like being caught in a hailstorm and asking someone, like, do you see this? Do you see all this destruction? And they're like, no, where? As cars are being thrown around, you're like, literally everywhere, like, because in our lives, that's what's happening. And to them, they're just whistling and walking to work. And you're like, what is going on here? And the media only gaslights it.
Yeah.
It gaslights us, rather.
Yeah.
I have a question for you both, because I feel like you would be among the best people I could ask about this kind of thing.
Go ahead.
If you could speak right now directly to the ear of an Azeri civilian who doesn't, just an Azeri civilian, period, or comma, what would you say to them? What would you say to them if you had their ears? You knew they were going to listen. Now, not follow, but at least listen to you.
I think I would start with saying that hate is not just born, it's created, and that there are ways that you can, like, there is a better life there. Got a call.
There is
And
a better life there, and then
there's a better life there if you choose to go through, and like this is the thing too, is that unlearning is a brave process. This is like
ooh,
it's so easy.
ooh, what a line.
It is like
You can't. I mean, I really don't think this generation, Azadis, would be able to unlearn the hate that they have basically been born into.
I'm writing down that quote, by the way. That's what I was just doing.
It's like this is something that can't happen overnight, but we see that happen in regards to just how much other movements have changed, you know, like even just and what I wanted to say was that, like, as you know, Canadians, we are also living on stolen land that is a product of, you know, genocide against Indigenous peoples, and we are Armenians led to that land. So there are all these different narratives that we need to unite together, and I think that there's always room for another one, even if that has to take, like, that unlearning, and obviously that unlearning needs to take place first. That's generational thing. It's little steps that each generation takes. So I don't know if we will see that happen in our lifetimes. I am confident that it will happen because things change, and that is just the nature of the world.
Absolutely.
And I'm confident that one day Indigenous peoples globally will be given the right to sovereignty, and the right to self-determination. And I'm confident if we keep going, we'll be able to make that together. So, and I guess another thing is just that your pride.
We have a question, by the way, after.
Oh, yeah, okay. That the pride that you have within your culture as an Azeri is not relegated at all. It has nothing to do with the politics of the state that you're in. If you really love your culture, yeah, then you want to see it progress. You want to see it align globally. You want to see yourself fit in on a global scale. You want, like, it's the thing, if you love something, you want the best. You want the best for your culture. You don't want, you know, your land resources being.
But how people define what is best is the differentiating factor here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's
the question is, and I kind of agree with the question, and I almost want to answer it, but this isn't for me. But if it can be learned, why can't it be unlearned?
I mean, like, going off what Navad said, I don't think that in our generation it will be able to be unlearned, because this is just what everyone has grown up with seeing time and time again. You know, back in 91 to 94, back in 2016 when there was the 4-day war, like, it's just a constant thing. So the people living there, this is what they've been surrounded by their whole life, is war and hatred. So it really is going to have to be something where, you know, if God willing this war ends soon, something will be able to go on to the next generation, and the next generation may be able to start change, and this change is very slow. So it will eventually and hopefully be unlearned, but I don't think it will. You can, you know, it's just with a snap of the fingers that you can say, like, okay, war is over and this is where everyone could live in peace now. Like, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way.
It's unfortunate. You're right. Unfortunate is the right word. I mean, it makes me think of, and this might seem like a diagonal leap, an astronomically diagonal leap, but it makes me think of things like, you know, September 11th. Those towers took years to build and only a few hours to destroy. It's so unfortunate, to use your word, that a lot of destructive things are much easier, much simpler, almost more seamless to occur than the building process, than the creating process, than the fixing process. It really is a difficult part of existence that exists. let me ask you too another question. Um, you're seeing this again from an outside perspective, and you have, I get to have two people here. Uh, you've seen a bunch of different examples of people contributing. What stands out to you in terms of contributing towards the initiative? And by the way, everyone, uh, please invite your friends. Again, the goal is to reach all across the world. We want to broadcast more than anything. We do want to fundraise, and we're almost at 3,000. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
and that's 3,700 for us.
I'm,
We're
I'm, wait, what?
So in the donation section, it actually converts it to Canadian currency. So for us, it's
Oh,
$700 we've reached.
oh,
So
wow.
keep donating.
So $2,800 is 3,700 maple leaves for you guys, right?
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. So tell me how.
Like
I
maple
want
leaf,
to.
but
Tell me, tell me about things you've seen that have been effective. And unfortunately, we only have 5 minutes left. So, what are some of the main things you've seen that have been effective in terms of effective?
just outreach, general outreach. So actually, quickly, I met Navart not too long ago at a demonstration at Dundas Square. I guess you can say it's similar to like Broadway, Times Square in New York. So it was interesting to see that people were actually, we were standing in silence, we were holding up signs, just giving information about what was going on. Obviously, it was like I think it was 2 weeks before, so
Yeah.
there wasn't as much information. It was still new. But a lot of people were coming up and asking us questions and what's going on. Like they were genuinely interested. I wish it was a lot busier because of COVID. We weren't able to reach as many people as we would have liked to, if it was during normal times. But I really think that we have to be out on the streets, engaging with the people on the streets. Just the other day, we also did a candlelight vigil, but we started at a place called Trinity Bellwoods Park, and we walked about 2 kilometers to the Toronto City Hall. And we were holding up signs again. We weren't protesting, like yelling things. It was more just like a silent walk. And people, our signs said, condemn Turkish and Azerbaijan aggression, sanction Turkey. And everyone you could see as we were walking by, they were rushing to the windows of their shops, because restaurants were, due to COVID, again, we can't actually eat inside a restaurant. We're only allowed to eat outside. So all the tables and chairs were set up outside. People who were eating on the patios, they were kind of stopping us while we're walking through, asking us questions. So I really think being on the streets and engaging with people is really important.
That's an amazing answer. And just so you know, while you were answering, Shant Bano says, "So proud of my Toronto family."
Yeah.
And I think also just because not everyone, like we're privileged to be able to live in a state that allows us the right to free speech and to protest and regards it as a fundamental human right. But also, I mean, it's been just amazing for me how everyone is using, like we're not all soldiers or doctors or like politicians or what have you, but it's amazing to see everybody using all of the tools that are at their disposal, whether that's your citizenship or if you're a good writer or if you're an artist and you've been, or if you're just good at connecting people, like all these different things, like people are, creating products and selling them and sending all the donations to Artsakh.
Her sister makes really yummy gata.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Make sure you make that a comment. But I guess I should say again that this company, Hokiis, Hoakiis, is made by my friend, and 100% of the proceeds, Hima, are going to Armenia Fund. This is going Incha.
Artsakh Victory Club. It's
Oh my God.
company, Apricot Jam, the label. Follow them on Instagram and order your sweater.
We have to switch to the next guest. Do you guys want to have a closing word? And definitely write that down in the comments, please.
Yeah, I will for sure. Just one quick thing. I actually love this book. It's called There Is Only the Earth, and it's images from the Armenian Diaspora Project. The photographs are by Scout Tufangcan, and the introduction is by Arnoqyan. It's a fantastic book. I just really want to quickly read one quote from it. It says, "I don't really know how to answer it. I like who it makes me. I like that I'm a fighter and I'm righteous and passionate, and I feel like I have a century of survival in me." And that was said by Danielle Tolakjan.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I think people are going to want you to write that too.
yeah, I will.
I love you guys, and thank you so much. And you know, when we say Hakteluenk, it's because of this.
Yeah.
It's because of our soldiers primarily, but we are and they know it. We are doing as much as we can.
Yeah, you're right. We will
Good
win.
job.
Okay.
Thank
Bye.
you guys.
Thank you guys.
Ciao. Okay. So like just such impressive people. I just can't I get it now when some people are like nervous about joining this stuff because they're like, there's so many amazing minds. Like now I feel intimidated because of the amount of amazingness. The quote that she said, not my quote, is one of the questions before, is Barevjan, how are you? That's not the quote.
Hello, guys. Hello.
Give me 1 second. The quote that they said is unlearning is a brave process. That's what the ladies said before. And now we will begin. Hi, John. How are you?
Oh, thank you, Samuel. I'm good. Thank you.
Do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us who you are and where you're from.
Yeah, sure. Is the light, everything is okay? Can you see me? I know it's dark here in Sweden. So I have joined you from Sweden. My name is Sergo. I'm actually born and raised in Yerevan, Armenia, but I have been living in Sweden for almost 12 years now. And I have a plan to move back to Armenia, Yerevan, at the latest at April. So I think you told me about your plans. So we have some great work to do in Armenia.
Yes.
That's where we are needed at most.
Absolutely.
Can you hear me? Is the voice, everything okay?
Beautifully. I hear a little bit of an echo. If you have headphones.
Yeah, I'm in the guest room, so it's quite big here. I can.
Do you have headphones?
Yeah, I have the headphones, so I will use them.
That I think would work perfectly.
I think this is better.
Because now there's no feedback.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Excellent. Excellent. So let me ask you, what is going on in your perspective, from your angle? What is all of this?
Look, I am quite deep into this, and in my perspective, this is like I have more perspectives in the political view of Azeri people, and I also know some Azeri people here in Sweden. I wouldn't like to call them for my friends, but we know each other. We talk to each other.
Associates, che?
Associates, yeah, exactly. They don't want this war. So all this is, in my perspective, two perspectives. I will tell you the first one. This is about Aliyev family, their promises to their people to stay in power, and they will give back Karabakh to them. So this is what it is about in my perspective. They have been giving promises, empty promises, for 30 years now, since the war in 90s ended. Please let us stay in power, and we will bring back Karabakh. But so they have some pressure.
These are the kind of promises they're making. The government.
Yeah, the government have made it to its citizens in Azerbaijan, and
you
now
see they're making those promises right now too. They're saying,
exactly.
You know, we've conquered so much of the land.
Yeah.
There's thousands.
Exactly. That's why all the propaganda. That's why they closed all social medias besides Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Everything is closed in Azerbaijan.
You have a few fans commenting, guys. Make sure you share. Make sure you share this feed to as many people as possible. We need Stockholm in the house.
I posted in a group that I would be here, so I don't know. Yeah, I need to focus on my speech. I can't read all the comments, but
That's okay. We'll study them after.
yeah. Yes,
So that's one part of it.
one perspective exactly, and the second perspective is Turkey. We are not fighting against Azerbaijan. We're fighting against Turkey, and this is what it is about. I have a lot of well, I guess we all do, a lot of relatives, friends, childhood friends in the front, and they are. I get the kind of information is like if we were fighting Azerbaijan, this war would be over like from the 5th day. But we are fighting Turkey, and Erdogan said that they want to complete what they started 100 years ago, the Armenian genocide. So this is what
Yet they deny it. Yet they deny it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's ironic. Yeah, yeah. That's the fun part of it. Yeah, exactly. So this is what it's about. It's a genocide, ongoing genocide right now, and the world is. Yeah, they're being quiet, but that's our job.
So I'm glad you said ongoing genocide because I'm really sick and tired of people saying second genocide. And
yeah.
I know people say it because 1.5 million people being killed is gargantuan. It doesn't matter if it doesn't matter where it is. That's a huge number of people to die. And we're a population, Armenia's full population is about 3 million in Armenia, and if you include Artsakh.
Yeah.
So I get why they say it, but I'm glad that you didn't say it that way. That you said another genocide or a continuation of genocides.
Yeah.
We have to make that clear, though.
Yeah, that's what we are trying. We are trying to work with all the media channels here in Sweden. We have a great team, and we are working on it. Everybody are doing what they can. We have great people here in Sweden. But when the elections in the United States are over, I hope we will get the media to write more about what's going on in Armenia.
I'm trying to get it over with too, like all the Americans. Where I literally comment on everyone's social media. They're like, I can't believe Trump said he won this state. I can't believe the way Joe Biden did this. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. By the way, there's a genocide happening against Armenians again.
Yeah, I think
I'm gonna be that guy.
Yeah, that's good. That's what we can do. That's what we must do.
If you get 1 out of 10 that you reach out to, people say like, what you have quite a few people who are non-Armenian and they're coming with it. It's because you have to be relentless. You have to show them the pain and not make them feel the pain, but let them see that this is real. This is something that you can help out by broadcasting. Beyond what I can do as an individual or what you can do as an individual.
Yeah, you're right. I agree. That's right. So,
why do you think this is happening?
What's going on in Armenia is that it's part of something called I'm not sure if the word in English is the right. I didn't check it out because Pan-Turkism, is that something? Yeah, is it the right word in English? Even
yes,
in English,
yes, Pan-Turkism.
Yeah, so I heard the other guys, other guests here.
We also call it assholism sometimes.
yeah, that's a good one as well. So that's what I believe. That's my theory. That I believe.
Tell us what that is, though. I mean, Nerses did tell us a little bit about Pan-Turkism. Tell us how you would define this concept.
Yeah, Pan-Turkism to me, it's what it means is that Turkey is trying to connect two parts of the map together, because the Armenia is in the middle of the map. So the other part next to Armenia is like countries like Dagestan, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, Chechnya, all those countries. Yeah, there are Turkish-speaking countries. The language is similar. The religion, culture is similar, and so Turkey is trying to connect, and Armenia is there, and protecting exactly. There is a good picture. Maybe I don't know. We can post it later on your Instagram for if. There are a lot of pictures, so that's why this is ongoing, and there have been like Russia, Armenia, foreign ministries have declared that this is Turkey is directly involved in this war. We have seen Turkish soldiers, we have seen Turkish uniforms, we have seen Turkish military
You'd have to
airplanes.
be completely in the dark, mentally, physically, whatever, to think that Turkey isn't directly involved. And not even involved, but the real thing we're fighting against.
They are on the ground. They have sent like they send special forces. 1,200 soldiers, special forces, with whom were trained to fight in mountains. But I don't think our guys had any problems to handle that. So
it's still unfortunate. I mean, that we shouldn't have to be doing this again.
No, you're right.
Like,
and this is not to talk about Syrian mercenaries. I think everyone has seen that. Everyone knows about it.
I wish I could unsee a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the first decapitation video. I watched it, and I opened it up. I started and I closed it, and I was like, well, if I'm gonna be talking about this stuff, I have to see the shit of it. I have to see it, or else I'm betraying, I'm imagining, I'm creating little hypotheticals. Like I will drag myself through the mud sometimes to be able to explain to someone what that sewage looks like.
Yeah, you're right. I agree. That's been we catched one of those.
Many, but one very recently.
One very recently, exactly. I think we have catch like 5-6 totally.
How much is this worth? How much is this worth?
What do you mean?
How much is an Armenian head worth?
$100. Yeah, what did they call kafir, or what did they say? It's an Arabic word. It means
it means infidel, kind of, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it is something like coffee.
There is also price for ear, for like different parts of our body. So that's crazy, man. That's And
my grandma would say I have $1 million face. I have to correct her now. I'm about 320.
Right. I don't think they can afford that. Yeah. All right.
Our friend Adam Bowen, who will be on tomorrow, just messaged saying the proper pronunciation. John, do you? Thank you. They're saying our faces are priceless. Adam, do you mind writing that again? I'm like insecure about touching the screen. I'm like worried that I'll break something. I guess I'll do it. Adam, what was the name of the people? Sorry, the word cafe.
Kafir, I think.
Let's see. Lots of laughs, lots of hearts. Armenia. Where is Adam Jan? $100. Kefar.
Yeah.
You were close.
I think it's
we were
an
close.
Arabic word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Arabic word. So, I think should we go on to your next question? Why? Or do you have anything?
Yeah, no, why? Why is this happening in your mind? You know, why kill all these people? Or why try and kill all these people?
And
I'm not asking you to give like a to defend them, obviously. Just
no.
What is in their?
No, for Armenians, it's about ongoing genocide. If we don't defend ourselves, we are gonna get killed. We are gonna get wiped out of the map. But for them, this is about the territory. They are fighting for a territory they claim it belongs to them.
The soldiers, not the government. The soldiers are fighting.
The soldiers, yes. As I told you, I know an Azerbaijani guy here in Sweden. I spoke to him. He told me, "Look, Sergo, I know this, but none of us want this war. Believe me, none of us want this war. Even people in Azerbaijan, they don't want this war. They have a lot of mothers who has lost their sons, a lot of sisters who have lost their brothers, fathers." And nobody wants this war. It's tragic, and war is wrong. So shouldn't be happening for what
And you
kind of,
explained why the government wants it, or really why the Turkish government wants it, which is the
yeah,
pan-Turkism.
yeah,
So I guess my third question, which I think is perhaps the most useful question,
yeah,
in terms of educating people, because again, this broadcast is again this fundraiser is an attempt to broadcast to as many different cities, peoples, demographics as possible in a single day, you know, and we're going to do it today, we're going to do it tomorrow, which is urgent. We need the world to know what is happening, which is why I ask people, you know, donate, please. And we're only $60 away from 3,000. So if you want to donate $60, anyone, to break that for us, all of us, that would be lovely. But the main thing is share it. Share it especially with your local friends, not just your Armenian friends. You could do it to your Armenian friends, of course, because there's pride. I get pride and comfort seeing people talk about the things that I'm dreading, because the media doesn't. So when I see people talking about it, I'm like, see, it is real. It's happening. But tell me what you've seen people do that has worked. Oh, we just broke 3,000. Wow. Thank you to whoever donated. Tell me what, I think it's my friend Ani who donated. Thank you, Ani Jan. Tell me what you think is working. How are people contributing? What seems to be the most effective? Maybe even what isn't working?
I think this war, if you look on a positive side of this war, is that it has connected all Armenians around the world, like me and you, for example.
Yes.
And everybody
I didn't know you 2 days ago.
exactly. Everybody are basically doing what they can. They are gathered together, and they're fighting together, and this war has brought us together. That's the most beautiful thing I have ever experienced through my engagement in the Armenian community, because I didn't know that we were so much Armenians here in Sweden. I know the numbers, but when we had arranged different demonstrations, car rallies, I didn't expect that so many people would show up. So we have done all that stuff. Our latest arrangement was a car rally, and it was crazy, but that was the point. We were 1,000 cars plus. I can send you the videos. Maybe you can post them.
Yeah, please. If you
Yeah.
send me the videos, I will repost the videos as
Yeah.
a post, not as a story, as a post, and tag you in it. That's you said
would
over
love to.
1,000 cars?
Over 1,000 cars in Sweden. Can you believe that? It's like
No.
10,000 Armenians living in Sweden, 13,000 Armenians living in Sweden, and we were over 1,000 cars on that day. And we got helped by the police. We didn't even we had a dialogue with the police. They escorted us through the highway. So we drove like 50 kilometers from a city in Stockholm to another city in Stockholm, between those cities on the highway. And we had all cars had Swedish flags, Armenian flags.
We have a phenomenal question, but it's not really. It's more of a sarcastic question. I have a question for all those who claim that we started the war. So why would the Armenians start a war for a territory where they are already living? They really need to wake up. Yeah, I mean, it really is kind of pathetic that they're taken seriously, considering their lack of transparency. Dictatorships, immense amount of journalists in jail, and their freedom index being just abysmal, both Turkey and Azerbaijan. The fact that it's literally like someone who has murdered millions of people and some other civilian are at a crime scene, and one is saying, no, he did it, and the other one's saying he did it, and they're giving them equal veracity. Like, what the hell is happening? Why would that?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Unless it is paid for.
Yeah.
Why would it happen? So rallies are one thing, and people see it. 1,000 cars you're going to see. What else do you see that's working?
We have been donating a lot of money. Actually, Sweden got. I was again impressed that Sweden made it to the list top 10 countries who had donated to Himnadram. And that's we were like one of the last countries on the list, but yeah, but we made it to the list, and that's great. We actually tomorrow and over tomorrow we are going to send humanitarian help to families who left their homes in Artsakh, and we are doing this with a charity organization called ADFA. It stands for Demand for Action. It's Swedish. I can send you the details
After do
yeah.
it in the messages so we can save it.
So the founder of ADFA,
Is it adfa.com?
A demand for action. It's, I think, a demand for action. ADFA stands for a demand for action.
But is it like .com or .org?
Yeah, .com, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
So they are going to send a truck full of winter clothes. I think it's totally 22 tons. I don't know tons. It's, you use that term in USA as well. Yeah. So we have been gathering clothes in different people have been gathering clothes in different cities in Sweden. So everybody will drive all those clothes to one city. It's close to Stockholm. And then from Stockholm, we will load the truck and it will roll to Armenia. I think it will take 2 weeks for it to arrive. So we are.
Well, I hope that nothing terrorizes that initiative, because we've seen humanitarian aid get terrorized before, which is, I think, just as disgusting as cutting off someone's ear is stopping people from getting medicine and health supplies. That's an absurd thing to do, and is to me a war crime as well. You have another question. What do you think about male demonstrations and tweetathons? I can speak to the tweetathons, but she's asking you, or he's asking you, Arlene, Arine.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
It's I have nothing against it, but it's as soon but it needs to be done the right way. So we have a team here in Sweden that are working against Swedish media, and we had established a great connection with them. We have like a reporter from Sweden in Yerevan right now, and one will also travel to Armenia within a few days. So we have a great connection with media here in Sweden. We have a team that is working on them. So male demonstrations against media in Sweden is a bit waste of time, and it can also have a negative effect. But male demonstration against like companies who are providing Turkish Bayraktars, the drones. Yeah, that could be something. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but it could be something. So male demonstrations, it needs to be done the right way, and it needs to be done by. It needs to be organized, and that's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. In terms of the tweetathons, you can't just barrage every single company simultaneously, because you're going to, one, exhaust yourself. Two, there's going to be no precision. Three, the narrative has to be uniform. So when the New York Times publishes something that's nonsensical, that's when we should be speaking out to them, and we should be addressing those particular journalists who are the ones that are lying, because it's not like the entire New York Times with their sports and the politics and economics. It's not like they're all horrible journalists because the entity has permitted it. But the fact that the entity has permitted it needs to be addressed. Do you know what is happening in Norway and Finland? In the US, we tend to always lump the three countries together, whether correctly or not.
Yeah. Well, I have Finland. I have no clue what's going on there. Actually, I don't even know if there are any Armenians living there. I don't know anybody. But we have a great connection with Norway as well. We have a lot of. We have a Norway. We have a lot. We have the Norwegian media also on our side. They have been doing great job and publishing great articles. They made a documentary like 6 minutes long about Syrian Merconists. I also call them for ISIS terrorists. I don't know if that's the correct word, but I do. So they made a video, documentary movie. It was.
Can you also link that in? Yeah, you're going to be
I will.
giving us a lot of
No,
stuff.
the thing with that is that I can send you the video, but it can only be watched in Norway. I emailed them. I asked them to open it up, but I don't know why they didn't. But I have downloaded the video. I will send you the video. It's in Norwegian though. So I will
Just teach me Norwegian. No
yeah, I will link it to you. Of course, I will. So Norwegians are doing great. They've been doing also a lot of demonstrations. There are even less amount Armenians living there than here in Sweden. So
it sounds like demonstrations, making sure they're
rallies,
uniform. Yeah, uniform as in like together. Rallies, things of that sort have been effective because anyone passing by sees it. They see it's a reality and they could stop to any human, or any human can stop to them and be like, well, here's what's happening. And that happened to me outside of the cathedral in New York City. These two girls were walking by and they like, what is that? And I literally just got out of the car, the Uber. No, it wasn't Uber. My friend Sonia drove me, and I literally just got out of the parking lot, and they're like, "What's going on?" And I said, like, "Do you have 2 minutes? It's kind of complex." They stayed with me for 10 minutes, and I explained to them like the entire I gave them a little history of the Armenian highlands.
Yeah, that's good. It's good.
So I agree with that. I think demonstrations, even though they're somewhat difficult to set up, and actually one of the people we're going to be talking to is going to give us perhaps a little bit of inside scoop about what it takes to create a large-scale demonstration, because she was part of, our friend Ani was part of New York's most historic Armenian event ever. And
when is she gonna be your guest? Right after me, or?
She was originally going to be right after you, but she's going to be 2 after you now.
It's tonight. Okay, I will stay awake to watch that.
Yeah. Well, Solange is also amazing. Solange is from Cordoba and Argentina, and she's going to be on in about 2-3 minutes.
I will be watching. Yeah.
I love that this is how I meet you, that we have this conversation. It's like our first time really speaking to each other.
I'm looking forward to get to know you all, guys. So I will just finish this with one quote. It's said by a guy called Stefan. I will turn my camera so you can see him. This guy, he was a member of the British Parliament. And he said something that is, I'm not going to quote him exactly, but he said something that means a lot to what we are doing right now, and I would like to encourage you guys to keep doing what you are doing. He said that when fighting against Armenia is like playing chess with someone who has 2 queens.
Whoa!
So the first queen, the first queen is Armenia, or the Armenian army fighting against Azerbaijan right now, and the second queen, that's us, the diaspora.
So the first queen is Armenia, like the Armenian highlands.
Armenian soldiers, exactly, fighting against Azerbaijan right now. The second queen, that's us, me and you, and the rest of diaspora. And he also
that
said
gave me chills. I'm not lying. I can show you the goosebumps.
I can send you that video as well, so you can post it on your Instagram when he's saying this.
Absolutely.
And he also added that it's impossible to win against someone who plays chess with 2 queens, and he got a point, because the Armenian diaspora, we are like a big part of this war, so we need to keep do what we are doing, and we need to stand with our soldiers, with our homeland. So that's that was
that's
what
phenomenal.
I wanted to say.
That's phenomenal. I think that's one of the best quotes I've ever heard about Armenia, especially from, I'm going to assume, a non-Armenian, unless pound is short for like Paunjan or something.
I will send you the video as well on WhatsApp. So
please do. And yes, it does need to go viral, that post. You know what? Maybe that'll be the next thing we translate into 10 languages. Maybe we'll have it in Swedish as well.
Yeah, sure. That's something we could work on. Absolutely.
John, thank you so much
Thank you.
for talking
Thank
to
you.
me.
Thank you.
I'll
And
see
I'm
you
looking
later.
forward. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Hi, Joe. Amazing. Amazing. Jeez. Like playing chess against someone with two queens. That's so phenomenal. I can't even. Like, that was a goosebump moment. And like, I was gonna respond, and then I like just kept thinking about it, and I was like overwhelmed by that one comment. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hola.
Hola, hola, ¿cómo estás?
¿Todo bien?
Muy
¿Y
bien.
usted?
Todo muy bien,
Bella.
gracias.
Obrigado. Welcome,
Thank
welcome
you.
to this lovely international Instagram live fundraiser. Can you tell us who you are, where you're from, um, and then we'll jump into the questions, the
Sounds
other
good.
questions.
So first of all, thanks for
The
opening the
audio's a little,
space.
the audio's
Low?
a little tough. It's
Okay,
like
let's see.
windy, I think.
This is the best I could get at the moment. Let's
That's
see.
okay, John.
Maybe, let's see. Tell me if it's better, if it gets better or not. So, nope, not
It's
better.
okay though. It's okay. This is okay.
Okay. If someone can't see something or hear something, just write it down. I'll repeat it. Well, thanks for opening the space up, obviously, to talk about this to all the people out there. And obviously, we're all here together to unify our strength and keep fighting on our end to help fight the fight on the other side from our soldiers. So I'm Solange. I'm from Argentina, Cordoba, which is the second largest city after Buenos Aires. Buenos Aires, everybody knows, has a huge Armenian population. Cordoba is the second one that has a big community and a very passionate and very Armenian community. I always question myself how from so far away, on the other side of Armenia, basically, and third generation removed, how of strong community and how Hayaser they really like we really feel super close to our homeland. And that's a testimony that today we can still, it doesn't take much for our communities to come together and feel as Armenians, as our great grandfathers that emigrated from there still felt. Um, so I moved to the States a long time ago, actually. But I go quite often, and I'm very much in touch with the community down there and what they're doing. And yeah, so there you go.
Beautiful. But right now you're in New York, right?
In New York, yeah. Actually, right after this, I'm gonna go and do some handwork, chamor, for gatas that we're selling.
Oh my God, so much gata. The
So
world is so much better with more gata.
yeah, so it's a great initiative. So we sold over 1,000 of them.
Oh my
So
God.
we've been working really hard, and so I'm heading there right after to continue the work.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
so
And that's why we did that little schedule shift, Che?
yes, I want to have at
Okay.
least half an hour extra. So
Yes.
yeah, to make
It's a
some
lot of
more.
gata.
Yeah,
You got to have a lot of gata.
indeed.
We just have a comment from Chris, just gata with hearts.
Yeah, the world is better with a little more gata.
It is. It is. So let me ask you, John, in your perspective, and maybe even the perspective of some of the people from Cordoba, what is going on? What is this? It's getting a little louder on your end, by the way.
I know. I'm gonna see if I can escape somewhere else. In the meantime, while we're talking, maybe there's a little more quiet area. Um, so, actually in Cordoba yesterday, the legislature, we're pushing hard so the media and everybody knows. And I think at this point, I think we've got quite an extent on media in Argentina to follow what really is happening. Like I said, things that, yeah, let me see if I can skip somewhere better here. You tell me. Okay. This is worse, better? I don't know.
Better.
Okay, let's see. If I end up in a hole, you tell me. Okay, so like I said, because the community is quite strong, and sorry for the noise, I try to be in a quieter
It's
place,
okay,
but
John. It's
yeah.
okay.
Um, thanks to like the community and how loud it is and how many people are in high up places, and also the movement that the community has created. I mean, the marches and the things that have happened in the past month around Buenos Aires, especially Cordoba as well. It's been quite humongous, and it's attracted a lot of news media. There's always more to be done, but it's a great start. I wish we could even do more, but I think it has gotten the attention of a lot of people. And there is more being said than I see in the States. Now, and obviously here is because of elections too. So there's a lot of factors. But down
And
there,
there's this virus that's going around too that,
yeah, strategically, right? Like, so in any case,
why do
so
you think this is happening?
why? I mean, I think we all know on our end why it's happening. It's quite obvious. It's been said from the other side, right, that they want us out of here. They want us erased as a population. They want us erased from from this world. So I think they did choose a very strategic time to do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, right before elections happen in the U.S., right when the world is in a crisis. I mean, there's so many factors that people are worried about what's going to happen to them personally. So they're not going to focus on international affairs as much.
There's so many things you can worry about, Che, at one given time.
Completely. But like we're stubborn in the good way community. We'll never give up. And I think the one thing that was that I was like trying to say, like in Argentina, in Cordoba yesterday, there was they finally at least recognized that there is a big conflict and there's a humanitarian. The legislature passed a law saying that they did recognize the humanitarian crisis that is going on towards Artsakh, and now they're elevating to the national government. I wish many other places were creating this type of awareness at least. And I know awareness it's just the beginning of what's going on, because awareness doesn't save lives, but at least it gets us a little closer to it, right? So
let me write that one down too. Awareness doesn't save lives. So next time someone celebrates awareness, I will try and reorient them that that's the first step, not even a milestone really. No. More of a you are going now in the right direction. Continue.
Exactly. And I think little by little with what we're doing, we are creating that awareness to all our people that are not Armenian, right? But we need our contacts. We need people that we haven't even thought about. I think that could be useful to spread this awareness even further and actually make action after this. And that's where we'll get somewhere with this. But yeah, it's devastating from the other side. Like us, like we can't do that much from here, but do what we're doing and do more of it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's so many different things that I have personally seen people do. And I'm honestly astounded as to the diversity of ideas that we have attempted. Can you tell me what are some of the things that stand out to you in terms of what has been efficient?
I would say that march that you mentioned that we're going to hear Ani talk about later in New York. I've seen, I mean, in 22 years of living here, I've seen the April 24 events.
You were there for the centennial, Che?
Yeah, and we've done a lot of things, and I think they're fantastic. But I haven't seen our young people coming together the way they did for this. And I think if anything, this horrendous atrocities that are happening right now are making our youth stronger Armenians. So we are actually they're helping us save so many more generations of staying close to home in a way and feeling more Armenian without realizing. So it's horrible that it's coming from this, but I think the one positive thing about this is just there are generations, sorry about the noise, there are generations and generations of youth, young people, even cousins, like little kids wearing the Armenian flag. They're going to remember for the rest of their lives the marches that they did, those little flags that they painted, the spirit behind it, you know? So we're saving actually generations of Armenianism in a way, which is beautiful.
I mean, if survival is part of our culture, and I don't mean survival like we have survived, period, but rather a continuous survival that we're always.
Which is hard when you're I'm saying like which is hard sometimes when you're far away from the homeland, right? The people that have somewhere to the resources or maybe the chance to go and live what Armenia is or what Armenian culture is locally in Armenia, we are lucky, right? There are a lot of people that haven't gotten the chance, especially I mean, tons of Argentinians that haven't made the trip to Armenia. But by things like this, you know, they weren't able to, or they won't be able to just because the economy doesn't let you. I mean, but by being part of this marches, being part of this movement, awareness of the culture, awareness of our people, the food, whatever it is, it's just saving so many generations of this spirit, right? The closeness to like who we are, why we are proud of who we are, and why we want to keep that identity going, regardless of where we are in the world, right? We find our family anywhere in the world, which is the beauty of us.
So we had two comments. One is from my brother from another mother, Chris, who says, it's ingrained in ourselves at birth. It pretty much is. I mean, I remember maybe not the first, but one of the first times I like reflected on the sound of the duduk, and I always thought to myself, this sounds like a sad memory. This sounds like a sad memory. Like a longing. It sounds like that word karot. Like it sounds like you're reaching back in your memory for a pleasanter time.
That's it.
And the other comment is, thanks.
Of course, trash in the.
There you go. And also, thanks to our parents and grandparents.
I'm going to
you
move again.
picked the busiest corner in New York City.
I thought it was the quietest one too, by the way, and it seems not to be the case. Okay, here we go. Yet another one.
We have to make sure we don't forget who we are and this spirit even after the war ends and we win. Good.
That's it.
Guys, remember to share with as many people as you can. Again, the goal is to broadcast to the whole world this information that we're presenting to one another. So it's not just Armenians talking to Armenians, which is good too, but to reach out to everyone, share it to everyone.
That's it.
Hello.
Hi.
How can I help you?
I'm doing a live and I wanted to be quiet. Sorry.
This is what happens when you're pretty.
No. They were trying to kick me out. Okay. It's a little better here.
Yes. Yes, and invite non-Armenian friends. Like, please do. Like, and do so. Everyone who's watching, like, reach out. Say that you know this one clown who is hosting, I guess, an event. Oh.
Sorry. Until they leave, it's going to be...
Is there anywhere else you can go?
I mean, I can walk actually out of here while talking. I could do that.
Is that okay? Don't get hit by anything.
No. I'm good at multitasking. No worries. It just happened to be trash time, I guess, in New York City, huh?
Yeah, we should have looked at the trash schedule. That's quiet now.
Actually, they might have moved.
Okay,
They did.
there you go.
Awesome.
So, what are things that you see that are working very efficiently? I know you've been a part of a lot of things, whether directly or indirectly. What do you think is working the most, and maybe we can extend that as the future?
I think it depends what we're focusing on, that what has been helping the most. Obviously, on the monetary end of things, which is huge at this moment, from individual donors to, like any sort of, the concerts that have been organized by individual people or by the, Creative Armenia, One Armenia HBU that was organized, I think it was like a week ago, which was phenomenal, by major musicians. Then the big donors, obviously, too. Like every organization, everything has. Everything has as much importance as a little thing. I think in terms of money, because it's the community coming together, and at the end of the day, giving whatever they can. And to that person might be a lot, and to the other person might not be as much as the other. So I think anything really, to that extent, is important. Things like this, where also there is awareness, even talking to one friend that is not Armenian, to explain everything, how it actually is, instead of getting some sort of misinformation by some sort of media which wasn't covered well. If you have outlets of media, I think that's also extremely important, where we can get a little bit more information out there. The tweets and everything. Everything counts. I think there's nothing too small at this point. And the more we do it, sometimes I think, oh my gosh, I'm posting way too much. Like, there's nothing. There's no too much. There's no too much.
It'll be too much when it's over.
Exactly. It doesn't. And today a friend that didn't go through your story, tomorrow they will, and that might be the day, and they're like, oh, what's going on? Today I was talking to two colleagues of mine, and I was like, this is crazy. And they're like, wait, we don't really know. Again, teach them, make them aware. And they're like, oh, can we buy gata? I was like, well, next time we will. But
I think they just wanted the gata.
No, they were interested. They're like, if we can support. I was like, I'll reach out for other support. I said, like I told them about the live, but they're not on Instagram. So in any case, there are many ways that we don't even know that we can reach out to people, and make a difference. Not only money, information, through art, through culture. We were thinking about organizing a concert with non-Armenian people for the Armenian cause, just to, not stay with. We know what's happening and we want to help, but also we need other people to be involved as well.
Tell me, why do you think this is important for people to know? Pretend you're a non-Armenian. What is the issue here? Why is it so urgent, and why should people focus on it now and not next week, not when the election's over, when coronavirus calms down? There's so many other problems in the world. So many, clearly. Why is this a priority to the world? Why should it be a priority to the world?
I could answer that in few layers, I think.
Let's go through those layers. Trident layer flow.
Let's see. In a human layer, you should care about if one person loses their lives out of injustice.
Yeah.
Just be a good human, and that should make it enough for you to care. We shouldn't have more excuses than that alone, really. Even if you don't know a person, as a human being, as a humanitarian, or as a person that cares about this world, you should care about one life being lost that is unjust, right?
Yes.
So on that basic level, I think that would be something to start with.
Okay.
Second one, I think there is
so just a natural, foundational, humane aspect of all of us.
Exactly. Which should be not even needed. More than that shouldn't be needed, really. But if anything else, Then there's environment too, right? That we go to another layer. If you don't care about, okay, there's environment, but also now there's a way bigger problem that I don't think it's being discussed as much, or maybe it is, but I haven't been as aware of it. I mean, for the rest of the world, we know as Armenians, we know what's going on because we've struggled for the past 100 years or more about being in an area where, it's a small, tiny Christian nation in the midst of Islamic world that I respect religions and I respect you have the choice to do whatever you want and whoever you want to believe, but the extremists is the problem, right? And the government. So I think what the world maybe is not wanting to see here, that it's going to become a world problem.
Yes.
And it's becoming a world problem.
Tell us how.
We see it in France, what's happened recently, right? We've seen what's happening in Vienna. You know what happened.
And they were warned about that too, which is the saddest thing.
We've seen it in the US. I mean, we've seen it everywhere by this point, We saw it a while ago. It doesn't need to be current, like these two last places that we saw. It's happening, and it's been happening for how long now? And if you don't see that from a tiny little town, a town, if you want to call it, it's not, but compared to the rest of the world, Armenia is very small. If you don't see that from that small but powerful independent land that is wanting to keep their Christianity, culture, within a bigger Islamic world, then if you don't see that problem right there developing into a world problem, then I think we have a bigger problem than if you're not realizing that. I think people need to realize what's going on here, that it's not going to be just the Armenia problem in years to come.
And as you say, it already isn't. The one thing that I'm I don't think I'm really disagreeing with you. I'm zooming in a little bit more on one part. I don't see this personally, I don't see it as a religious issue at all. I see this as an ultra-nationalist issue, the same way that Nazis would call themselves Christians. They are not Christians. I'm not a very good Christian, but they're not Christians. To murder in cold blood, to idolize, there's so many individual violations of Christianity within the basic foundation of being a Nazi. So
I think I agree with you on that completely. They use the tool as a via to justify something, but it's not really what it is. The deeper level is not that.
That is it. It is to some degree, perhaps a mask, partial mask. They say, oh, this is a religious thing. Perhaps the other side of the mask will be, this is our nation, our people, our land, our culture, whatever they think is theirs, whatever boundary they can create as the us versus them. And the hatred we already know is, divisions are natural. Yeah. I've said this a million times. From a purely psychological standpoint, division is natural. Fear is a natural thing. Fear of the unknown is a natural thing. Being taught to hate the fear, the thing you don't know, to convert that fear into fire, that is not natural. That is learned. That's a programmed thing that is built by multivarious associations that are weaved and reinforced. That's the learning and unlearning that Navart and Cassandra and I were debating about in their Toronto session earlier today.
Yeah. I mean, it also, you could see that. I think it's been a long way coming that they were planning to do this, obviously.
And Nerses was saying that too.
I mean, even with the Hagia Sophia, right? That it was, for such a long time, was a museum. And then they converted it into a mosque.
Yeah, historic museum too. One that would preserve a lot of culture.
So, I mean, even from that time, that even it wasn't that long ago, but little things like this, that they started instigating this um, mentality of this is, well, pan-Turkism, and this is like what we want at the end of the day. So it's just, that's why I just cannot, what makes me angry, if anything, it's I cannot believe that the world doesn't see it as much, or they don't want to see it, or they're a little muted by different factors.
I'm with you there. I'm with you
Uh,
there. My vocal cords were bleeding after the New York Times protest, literally the next day. And it's pretty shameful. Their response was shameful. I mean, they really will always be remembered by the Armenians as fostering lies, as harboring deception, as accepting the word of bloody dictators. They will always be like that, and they can't do anything about it. It's done. They've solidified by ignoring us. You know, there's a few hundred of us outside, and you know, this isn't the first time we've stormed the streets, speaking our truths, speaking the truths, trying to counteract the waves of propagandic bullshit that they've spewed into the media with hundreds of millions of dollars. But there are things that are winning, that we are winning.
I believe so too.
Well, you see it every day. There's someone who's thrown in jail for the xenophobia and vehemence that they and fury that they try and evoke in people who don't want to do these things, or
the recognition of the mercenaries. Finally,
recognition of the mercenaries, yes. Or I mean, New Jersey just. I think in New Jersey there were the senator.
Palon.
Sorry, the governor, I think in New Jersey was recognizing it. In Englewood, in Bergen County, they were recognizing Artsakh. We have so many little victories, but for us, it's infuriating because it's like it's day 41 right now, 42 for Armenia. It's like, why? Like, why is this taking so long? When genocidal maniacs are attacking a small, sovereign, peaceful country, why is it taking NATO, the UN, the EU, the media, international media, why is it taking them so long? Are they afraid of Turkey? Because Turkey has challenged them. Turkey's lira is dropping. Azerbaijan is, as under the Aliyev regime, is dwindling because of Aliyev and because of Erdogan.
Yeah. And I always said, like, if someone has a little bit of a brain, you understand that Artsakh would never start something like this. That
what do they have to gain?
Why would they disrupt their own peace?
What do they have to gain? Yeah.
There is nothing, absolutely nothing. So
Nothing.
when people the bottom line of saying there's a war, there's no war. That's not what a war sounds like.
No.
It's when one side attacks, the other one protects. And that has to be the headlines of every news, media, newspaper. There is no war. It's an attack.
It's an attempted genocide, yeah.
Completely. And I think if you have just tiny little bit of intelligence and know what's going on and care about it to read it, then that's the first thing that pops up in your mind. You know, I mean, really, Taiwan, same thing. Like, it's not recognized internationally as independent, but it's governed independently. So China should just go and attack Taiwan, like, all of a sudden and start, you know, would that be
because
okay
apparently
with the world?
because apparently the international community is, I mean, our friend Andrew wrote a comment, like, unfortunately, government action takes forever. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be that way.
No.
You know,
If there's enough pressure from media and from the other side of things, you know, the recognition, then the legal stuff become later, but at least that starts establishing itself.
one last comment before it's time to go. How is Argentina how is
Argentina.
Argentina media handling this? And I
So
think you
little,
spoke about this a little before. So
yeah,
yeah.
just brief, like little by little, there's more coverage about it. There actually, a few years ago, there was a Turkish telenovela that became extremely popular in Argentina. Everybody was going crazy for it. So the work, and it happened the same year as the 100th anniversary of the genocide.
Oh,
So it was heartbreaking for, most Armenians obviously there because it's
yeah,
again, same thing, same attack. It's another way to
yeah,
find out the same thing.
yeah,
So right now, like I said before, there's way more awareness of it that there was 10 days ago, 15 days ago. I think there's more mobilization in each city to make this public, especially just because there's so much, I mean, they're doing a great job of mobilizing the whole city
yeah.
by protests and by talking in a governmental level with institutions and making a difference. So it's slow, but I think at least the word is out, which I
And
think is
because of
important.
that, every time we have a victory, we can't celebrate too much. Use that, share that celebration to show and validate things to each other. But then that means go faster, keep going.
Yeah.
Like Hachtelu, we will win if we continue to accelerate at this level and with this level of precision.
Yeah. I'm not a surfer, but stay on the wave and make that, keep it going, till the end. So until we actually win, which we will.
Absolutely. Obrigado, John. Thank you so much.
Un beso muy
Gracias.
grande. Gracias a vos. A big hug.
Big abrazos y besos.
Gracias. Donate, people. Donate too.
Donate.
Donate and
And
share. Thanks for having me.
thanks for joining.
Ciao,
Bye,
ciao.
John.
Got the time. Bye.
Ciao. Got that time. It is, little does she know, it is always got that time. Okay, let us add the one, the only, Ani Girgirian. Hooray!
Wow.
Hi, Janik.
Hi.
How is one of my favorite humans in the whole wide world with her awesome librarian glasses? Where did those come from?
Yo, I'm pretty sure I have an eye infection. I'm not gonna lie.
Yay!
I usually wear my contacts, but I've been working day and night on all of the organizing and the campaigns and the social media stuff that we're doing that sometimes I fall asleep in my contacts like without realizing it. And now I have an eye infection, so here's my glasses for you.
Well, I'm sorry about that, but what seems to be amiss? What seems to be the problem? What's going on in the world? Actually, even before that sarcasm, who are you?
Hi,
And
everyone.
where are you from?
For those of you that I don't know, my name is Ani Georgian. I was
Woo-woo.
born and raised in New York City from Queens. I am a singer, I'm an actor, and I actually went to, I actually got my degree in clinical social work, which is completely different from performance. But yeah, I'm now a community organizer within the diaspora. That's where the social work part comes in. A lot of what I learned is coming into play in terms of trying to get people to care about this and what parts of the psyche we need to hit to get non-Armenians to care.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
So I guess the question I want to ask you first, kind of, I've been asking like, what is going on from your perspective? Why is it happening in your perspective? And what are people doing that has been working from your perspective? But I kind of want to flip that because you were a part of one of the most phenomenal things I've ever witnessed in my life, which is a gargantuan protest in New York City about 3 weeks ago. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share my story. Nerses opened this chat up by, or rather ended his chat by talking about Vahe, who, I said, like, when I found out that he was killed in action, I broke down. And I've honestly not been the same since. but it was at least there's some catharsis that came from being able to just tell the world, this is the pain that I have, like understand it. Let me ask you, what does it take to create not just a demonstration, but a fucking phenomenal demonstration? What does it take to get a lot of people in the same room, maybe even different egos in the same room, different personalities, different political spheres? What do you have to do to get people in the same room? Tell us how this starts and how it manifests. Because
Yeah.
people could use this.
So it was not just me that organized the Report the Truth march from NBC to ABC. It is our brand new organization that was birthed as all of this started, called Armenian Unity Project.
One more time.
Armenian Unity Project. If you're not following us on Instagram and Facebook, go follow. We're doing a lot of organizing essentially for that we think is necessary for the community, and we're taking steps to not only organize protests but fundraisers and social media campaigns. And I have the nationwide calling party for Artsakh, where I'm gathering groups of people from different states to get them to call their representatives to co-sponsor HRES 1165. And now we have the new resolutions for the Senate, so we included that in there, just constantly being updated. But all of that being said, that falls under AUP. Essentially, we are a group of people who are, in terms of Armenian cliques, so random. None of us were actually really friends until we started this organization, and it happened so organically. It was clear that we all just were able to work together very well, and it flowed. And so we, to answer your question, I believe timing had a lot to do with it. Our march was one of the first protests as this was beginning in Artsakh.
Nightmare. As this nightmare. Yeah.
As this nightmare took its course, a lot of protests were going on in LA, and we noticed that not much was happening on the East Coast yet. So we were like, you know what? We're going to have to do something, and it's going to have to be big. And we were actually nervous at first to open it up to the entire East Coast. But it worked out in our favor. Because, I mean, nobody really thinks about what it takes to plan a protest, right? It's not just people showing up. You have to talk to the police. You have to get permits. You have to plan routes. You have to plan emergency things, like in case someone gets hurt, what are we going to do? Do we have security in place? Is the NYPD our only security? How many people are we projecting versus how many are actually going to show up? It's a lot of planning, and we came across so many issues in terms of getting that permit and getting them to shut a street down for us. So we told them that there were, by them I mean the police, we told them that we projected about 300 to 600 people, which is not a lie, because we did project that amount, and we didn't know how unified the diaspora was going to be in this endeavor. We thought it would be just like any other protest that we've seen, couple hundred people here and there. And it
was a little bit more than 300, right?
It was about 3,000 to 4,000 people that showed up and marched with us, which again was completely unexpected, but I wasn't shocked. I was expecting this type of response from the diaspora. I just didn't know it would be that vast.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I think that's a testament. I think it's a testament to how I mean, if I may mansplain, I think that timing is obviously a huge part of it, of course. But at the same time, I think the fact that you're a random group of people was actually one of the best saving graces. I've said this a million times, and I hope someone here can co-sign it. One of my things about Armenians is that we sometimes had a lot of tribalism and a lot of like fighting amongst things, like the egos clashing, and people who could help each other wouldn't, because there was some sort of egoic mechanism pulling them away from each other. Like, no, this person has too much recognition. too much recognition? What's their goal? Is their goal to save that same person that you're trying to save? Isn't that the thing that you should care
Right. So
about?
why are we fighting about it?
My
Exactly.
favorite thing about what you and Sonia and your small team of, I think, exclusively young women, right?
It's young women and men. We have Greg Dostur and Shant Dostur, and we also have Lucine Jacobs, who I had never met prior to September, ever.
Yeah. So but you had a small group. This wasn't like 50 or 60 people who are,
Oh, no, we're like 12 young people who
and
are not in other organizations.
and you managed to be the flag bearers. And when you say, the only reason I'm mansplaining about the time thing is, I don't want anyone to think that you incidentally became the flag bearer just because of time. It was because, in my opinion, you had a bunch of people who were like, no, we're not putting your name on it, or your organization is not going to be the one that decides these things. Your organization is not going to be the one that decides these things. All the organizations can participate,
Correct.
and
That's the
should
whole point.
participate.
Exactly.
But no one, because if this entity does it, that it's a government entity or it's a non-government entity, there's so many regulations, there's so many things they have to follow in their history. It's like, no, you're going to work together. And the second thing is, you come from a pretty diverse, you do represent different organizations as things that you've been a part of. So you bring a lot of that psychology and insight and wisdom and knowledge and all these things there. So you bring also those networks. I think that's part of why it was such a immeasurable success. Like, it was bigger than the centennial.
Yeah, it was. When I think back to that day, I still can't believe how many hundreds and at this point 3,000 to 4,000 people joined us on that day. It just goes to show how furious we all are, and people were willing to travel from so many different states, from all over the East Coast. People drove in from Maryland, from Delaware, from Rhode Island,
DC.
sure, DC. People drove in from all over just to be part of this, because we are all on the same page in that the media, well, we all know the media is biased, but this is to an extent that I don't think our community has ever seen, where we are blatantly seeing these news outlets reporting pro-Azeri, pro-Turkish propaganda that's so clearly fake, that's so clearly they've been paid to write, that we had to, we had to do something. And I don't think we've ever really protested in front of news stations before. Correct me if I'm wrong, just in the past, I don't think that's something we've done. So it was also kind of a shock for
Not to my memory, no.
Right? I don't think we have.
But we did have the West Coast there too, which is an insane thing. I mean,
Yes.
the West Coast was there for quite a few reasons. I mean, there was multiple events, but the fact, I mean, that's not to take away from our event. If anything, it's to show the solidarity, because we were at those events too in DC and in Boston and things like that, and in
Right.
Jersey. So, there is a level of solidarity that I think the diaspora is doing. And I think when you're saying that, you need to be thinking about permits, especially now, about police, because of how angry a lot of these ultra nationalists are getting, you need to think about everything. And that requires a diversity of people, and that means that the blindingness of ego needs to be way in the back. No room for that. We're not enough people to let ego dwindle our efficacy.
Right. And it's incredible to me how now that Armenian Unity Project has been up and running, still newly up and running for the past essentially month at this point, I am so incredibly amazed and impressed with the people who are in this organization, because we are all so vastly different. And we all come from such different careers, from such different Armenian communities within the diaspora. We all know different people, and we all have very different skill sets that when they come together are perfect. So like, we have someone who's incredible at tech. We have someone who's incredible at social media, someone who knows all the stuff for like performances, having the music and the microphones and like the speakers set up. And then we have people who are incredible at financials who want to handle that. People who are incredible at, you know, organizing the detail part of any protest or event that we're going to hold. And so when we all come together, it's like this explosion of ideas, and everyone's just like, I'll take care of this, I'll take care of this. And it's like a well-oiled machine. And I'm so impressed with our members, Armenian Unity Project. What?
So it sounds like one of the best things that you can say. Oh, by the way, before I finish that sentence, let me just put that over here. We're gonna put that right here. I'm becoming like I'm like acting like, oh wow, get out of here. One of the things is like they also have someone who is very good at media in that the second she speaks, whether it's her lovely singing voice or just her reels, you know how many people don't know you but were messaging me like, is this the girl who's doing like the comedy bits about, and I was like, yeah, she's the one from the reels. And they're like, I can't wait. So like it does many different talents, and that goes back to here. One of the things, I'm gonna do this instead. One of the things that I think, love you too. One of the things that I think really, if we can summarize what you said, because I kind of want you to be sort of, you and AUP, to be sort of an instructional manual for other people. Not that you guys need that extra pressure, but someone from LA, I don't want to say their name, said to me, and this is a person who definitely knows their stuff, said if the West Coast, the quantity of the West Coast had the strategic quality of what the East Coast presented in the Report the Truth march that you guys created, then this would be over by now. Because their population is much greater than ours on the West Coast, much bigger.
Huge.
Yet we still had we had a historic thing and all these things in a pretty short amount of time too. Like we didn't have months to plan this. You know, this was.
No, we planned this in like 4 days. Which was
Say it
hard.
again. Say it again.
We planned this in 4 days and it was horrifying.
I think on like day 2 is when you reached out to me saying like, hey, this sucks for you too, right? And I'm like, yeah, it does. And you're like, do you want to talk about it? I'm like, sure. And you're like, do you want to talk about it to a crowd? And I'm like, I guess. And like, again, that's an amazing thing. And by the way, I know that people are going to be asking, so I'll answer it before it's asked. Just YouTubing Anka, ANCA, Report the Truth, since they're the ones that presented the footage. Thank you, Yedvant. You're awesome, and you look heavenly with your Jesus-like mane. I think that, I mean, that video, we watched that video that night. Literally that night. It was me and some of the people who are going to be on tomorrow. We were sitting on my couch and just watching it and being like, this happened. This is the proof. This really happened. And it already had like over 1,000 views, and we just got home.
Wow. Yeah.
I recommend watching it because there's a lot of truth and a lot of evidence, and that was week 2, I think, right?
That was week 2. Yes.
And we're entering week 6 right now, 42 days.
I can't even believe that it's been so long at this point. It feels like this has lasted 6 months already.
Sam, I can put my... Sam.
Oh yeah, y'all, the point of this is for y'all to donate. What are y'all doing? Where are the donations,
Yes, donate.
honey?
They're so mesmerized by you. Sam, I can put my stamp on what you say as someone who's in LA and knows how you guys in New York made it happen. Yeah? AUP flow.
Will Ani sing for us?
Will Ani sing for us? We've got 11 minutes.
Ani will sing dependent upon your plans, baby.
Can you just like, do you know the song, The Great Gig in the Sky? by
No,
Pink Floyd.
I
It has
don't.
it's no lyrics. It was considered like the sexiest song ever written. There's no lyrics. It's just like just this beautiful scatting almost. I guess a song that you really like, I think people would prefer something Armenian. If I cry though, that's because I was already crying.
Yeah, I can do Armenian or English. I don't know. Y'all tell me. Tell me. Okay, how about this? We have 29 donations. We're at 3236. If we can get this to 3,500 in the next 5 minutes, $3,500, I will sing something. 500. Y'all start donating. Let's go. But in the meantime,
I got to add people then again.
yeah, as we wait for people to get to 3,500, we can continue with what we were talking about. I don't know if you had
Yes.
other.
I have infinite questions.
Right.
So I guess what I'm going to say is, why do you think we're suddenly winning? I mean, I saw something in the Irish Times this morning, I think, or last night. It's tough to tell when is when now. But it was like another report about what is happening in Artsakh, and there was veracity to it. I see it in a multitude. I made an Instagram post, actually, a little collage of things that happened just in the last week, and I had to pick and choose because there was, I think, 15 or so things that came out in the last week, at least that I could find, and that was in English, that we know of, that is talking about what's happening. Like, we need to sanction Turkey. We need to get them out of NATO. Da, da, da. Why do you think now it's happening, and what should we do now about it?
Why? What specifically is happening? Which of the many things?
Why do you think why do you think the truth is catching up? Why do you think the media is finally catching up to the truth? What do you think the mechanism is, and what should we do about it? If you had to just pontificate.
Yeah, I feel like the media is taking its sweet, sweet time catching up to the truth, to be honest. It is taking as long as it possibly can. And unfortunately, that's because clearly they're being paid off by Azerbaijan and by Turkey. And these two countries have their law firms and their lobbying firms and their PR firms paying people to make their, as I like to say, to make their shit pile glisten within this country.
We have a comment. Sorry, I just interrupted you. No, after.
No, go.
No, I want to hear your answer though. I'm very curious. Look how adorable you are. Just like,
I'm so blind. I'm just like, what are they talking about?
I am good for it. This is Stella Gregorian. She's like one of the best people ever. She like essentially saved my life when I was a kid. And someone very close to Stella is going to be closing this. So very close. She's a stellar human. But she says that Sam basically, that I can vouch for her honesty. She's gonna donate that amount to get to 3,500. So that would be about $120.
Sick.
She says she's gonna do it. I trust Stella.
Yeah.
I would trust Stella with like my life support.
I trust.
She saved my life once already.
Really?
Yeah, Stella's amazing. I will another time, I promise.
I'm intrigued. You tell me.
I wanna hear your voice. She's one of the reasons why I got adopted. So, she's actually like one of the first steps in why I can be here right now. And probably alive.
So that sounds like she's a trustworthy person then.
Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely.
I can sing something in Armenian or in English. Got one prepared.
I think we all want Armenian, let's be honest. What do you guys think? Armenian or English?
I saw a couple that said Armenian. Also, Stella is older and can't figure out how to do it on Instagram. Your age
Stella's also funny.
Stella's
also funny. She's very cute. People are saying Armenian left and right. So
all right.
there's a little bit of delay between the time in which they post and yeah, everyone's saying Armenian.
All right, done. We'll do Armenian.
Guys, share it to more people though. Share it to more people so they can hear this beautiful angelic voice.
Oh, and perfect timing too. We have a few minutes left. Okay, I'm gonna sing something a song that I think about quite often. It's called Lerner Hayreni. It means the Armenian mountains. And the song is about missing the Armenian mountains. So. Ach ինչքան կարոտել եմ ձեզ Սիդաբանդ լերներ հայոց աշխարհի Վազել եմ հոգնել ձեր լանջերում ես Իմ լերներ հայրենի Վազել եմ հոգնել ձեր լանջերում ես Իմ լերներ հայրենի
Wow. I lost my voice again. That was beautiful. That was so fantastic.
Thank you.
I don't know why I'm always surprised at how good your voice is. Like I'm always surprised by it. I get like so deeply calmed down whenever you sing. Like I'm completely like not like lullabied almost. Guys, how good was our singing? Yeah, everyone, this is amazing.
I'm so sweet. The whole song is pretty long, so I'm not going to do the whole song, obviously. But
well, we do have 4 minutes left, and there was a few people who were requesting an English song. So yeah?
I got you.
Yeah.
I think this song is timely. I certainly can give voice lessons if you want me to, and will donate all the money that you pay me to Armenia Fund.
Yeah.
Message me directly. Okay. English song. This is a timely one. Y'all will know it when we start it. Sing
I swear,
if
you sing like a fuck Donald Trump thing, I'm gonna have to get the next.
Imagine.
This is very timely.
Very timely. Okay. Me and all my friends, we're all misunderstood. They say we stand for nothing and there's no way we ever could. Now we see everything that's going wrong with the world and those who lead it. We feel like we don't have the means to rise above and beat it. So we keep on waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting on the world to change. It's hard to beat the system when we're standing at a distance. So we keep on waiting on the world to change. Now if we had the power to bring our neighbors home from war, they would have never missed a Christmas. No more ribbons on their door. And when you trust the television, what you get is what you got. 'Cause when they own the information, oh, they can bend it all they want. That's why we're waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting on the world to change. So we keep on fighting for the world to change.
Oh man. Amazing. You're so, I mean, I don't know. It's just so phenomenal, and like there's so many talented people. You're incredible in like 11,000 different ways. I'm all right. I really do feel like calmed down when you sing, and not like bored calmed down, like more like I feel like all like the anxiety and like the whisperings of all the things that could be happening, just at least for a moment, kind of like just dim. And it's like, okay, I can just hang on these words and sort of tether to this tranquility in the air right now. So thank you, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners very much are impressed. Yeah,
Thank you.
based on the
That makes
comments.
the mental health social worker side of me very happy to hear that I can bring a
Perhaps
slight bit of
it resonates in that voice.
calmness to everyone who's going through this together. It's, you know, one thing that I want to make sure people know is that I make these funny videos and I seem super chipper and happy in them, but I mean that's not how any of us are really feeling right now, and it's taking everything out of me to attempt to bring both information and joy to people simultaneously, because in times like this we need art, we need comedy, we need something to fill us back up so that we can keep fighting. And I can only hope that some of the things I'm doing will help people with that.
I think you see that it definitely is, and you're amazing. You're awesome.
Love you.
Bless you. Love you too. And thank you again.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you for doing this. And I'm trusting that Stella will donate the $120 that is missing from this current donation.
120.
$120 that is missing from this current donation.
Stella's a goddess. She will definitely.
All right. Love you.
Love you too. I'll talk to you later, Janik.
Yes. Bye, John.
Bye, John. And the talent continues. She is so incredible. Someone just sent a message that we're going to read as Aline joins. Oops. As Aline joins. Oops. I almost invited myself. I don't know how that would work. So someone wrote this beautiful comment. Hi.
Hi.
How are you, John?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. Can I read this one comment that was for Ani? Ani found your page today, and you are definitely helping. I hope Ani sees that. I know she will. She's phenomenal, and there's so many phenomenal people. And speaking of phenomenal people, how are you, Ali and John? Can you tell us who you are and where you're from?
So hi, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Aline Manayan. I'm from LA, so I know it's pretty late on the East Coast right now, so really appreciate you all joining. Sam has been doing a phenomenal job with these past few hours. So Sam and I actually go way back. We've known each other for over 10 years. We actually met in the plane coming back from Armenia. So our homeland brought us together, and we've been friends ever since, I think since 2008. Yeah, that's pretty long.
What a different Armenia too. Oh my God, such a different country then.
And I think there's a few folks on the call who are also on that flight. So raise your hands or post a like if you're on that flight with.
Or donate 200.
Or donate 200. No, thank you for having me here. Just as a background, I am a healthcare and life sciences business management consultant, but I'm doing work for Armenians for like the past 15 years or so. I think one of my first projects, I was 17 and I helped build a school in Hadrut with the Works of Armenia Fund. And I think that was one of the most incredible opportunities we had. And I believe that school was recently shelled, which
I don't want to say it.
Right. But
that hurts.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts because it's something you personally did, right? We're all constantly hearing stories of this happened, that got bombed, that got shelled, but it doesn't feel the same until you've been there. You've experienced those people, right? And if you've had a hand in it. So we'll build again. And I know we will.
Yeah, we will, of course.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, from your perspective from the West Coast, what do you think has been working in terms of what you guys have been doing? And there is a certain thing I do want you to talk about, which I gassed you up a little bit about before, but I do really want you to talk about it. Tell me, what are some things that every person can do, and you really wouldn't be too extremely difficult for them to do?
Right, for sure. There are a few things that have been working. So one of the things that's been working is talk to your non-Armenian friends, right? Don't just post and expect people to read it. There's so much information out there, right? We're nonstop posting things and hoping people read it. But look, me personally, and I know some of my friends, our story views are going significantly down, right? People don't want to see what's going on. And they don't even know, right? So, for example, I spoke to a few of my non-Armenian friends, and they were like, wait, we saw you posted something about Artsakh, Armenia, but we didn't really know what was happening. So if you just have a 2-minute conversation, let's say with 5 non-Armenians a week, right? That'll light a fire in them to want to learn more. And I've made that my own personal goal, which is resulting in, right? It's like the tree branch that just keeps growing and growing. You tell 5 people, they tell that each person tells 5 people, it'll grow. Like this morning, I woke up to a text from my one of my Indian friends. He works at Salesforce, and he sent me like he told me non-Armenians at Salesforce are talking about what's going on in Armenia, right? There's that group chat, no Azeri, no Armenian. So I think that's been working. Another thing we kind of started, and I think this is what you were tooting to, Sam, that, you know, a few weeks ago, some of you may have seen one of the images. It was like the Protect the Queens hashtag, right? With the Armenian map, with the 2 queens. Historically, it's been known that Armenia's geography has the side profile of a woman. And Armenians have said that's Mother Goddess Nane. She's the goddess of warrior and peace, right? So that's where the Protect the Queens hashtag started. So I started that with the hopes of, you know, trying to garner support and awareness of what's going on. And we got several thousand shares within just a few hours. Then I started thinking, okay, what else can we do that can hit larger people, right? You want to have something that is not convoluting a message. So I thought maybe we can start with a red block. But then I was like, I don't know, maybe not, let me sleep on it. Several hours later, one of my friends, Nersa Saposha, and I'm sure many of you know, we're in a group chat called Menk. And every day we try to come up with ideas of what can we do today? What can we do today? And he brought up the red block again. And I was like, you know what? If someone else is thinking about this, this is probably a good idea. I think on a Friday night, 14 friends decided to post that block with a small blurb on what's happening, right? The second we did that, I think within a few hours, we got a few thousand reposts. By 7 a.m. the next day, we had 55,000 shares just on just private pages. Public pages. So that's when people started going private, so their shares appeared. I think within a day, we were at over 150,000 reshares. And
you broke 250,000 eventually and the good thing, amazing thing, first of all, like phenomenal, like that's such an amazing feat to be able to accomplish something like that. And it's such a simple idea. And, you know, sometimes it takes real intelligence and insight to strip things down to their nucleus, so that anyone can pass by and be like, I know what that is. Like exactly. That's an incredibly difficult thing. Just because it's simple doesn't mean that it's, you know, simplistic. It could very well be the opposite. But one great thing that is that's connected to that is Peace for Armenians was the hashtag that was associated with it. When you look up Peace for Armenians, it is still one of the top hashtags because people are doing it. You know, you encouraged like celebrities to post about it. That doesn't happen, you know, just by, I'm not really a luck person. It happens because of like proper and pragmatic design and like really like well like very tight collaboration, you know?
Right. Right, and this is like a really small example of that, right? Just picture Friday night, 14 friends group chat, let's do this, right? We thankfully Narcissus brought it up again because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna sleep on it. And Narcissus brought it up, and I think his wife did a great job selecting the color for it. And you know, it's basic marketing, marketing 101. What's the color that grabs people's attention? It's red. Thankfully, that's the color of our flag, right? Represents blood and represents alertness, right? Emergency. Hello, look at us. The purpose
Pomegranates
of,
for
right?
some people.
For some people, right? The purpose was posted, right? Let's try to get attention. Once we have their attention, then we can continue posting the stories we've been posting, right?
Then something really deeply meaningful can begin.
Correct. We were getting some feedback that you're flooding our news feeds. It's all red posts, right? But the second people see that, they're going to click on it. They're going to want to learn more to see what is happening with Armenia. I mean,
Yeah.
we saw Elton John reposted it. No idea from where, right? How it got to Elton, we don't.
But then what happened?
But then what happened is, you know, I think it's
No,
really.
you should say it though, because it's pretty.
Yeah. So.
Oh, okay.
I mean, including numerous celebrities who posted not just the piece for Armenians hashtag, including the Red Square, but anything Armenia related. They got attacked and bombarded with Azeri comments from Azeri or Turkish individuals, in addition to their bots, right? They have been plotting for many years on what is currently taking place in Artsakh and Armenia, and they have very sophisticated algorithms that follow these hashtags, comment on celebrities' pages, right? And you'll notice it's very evident they're a bot. You'll see it's the same several paragraphs being posted on the same pages multiple times.
Zero posts on their account, following like 800 people, followed by like 12, and then you look at the 12, they're also followed by 12, and you're like, you're all followed by each other. Like, you're trying to really, that's probably the threshold in which Instagram will be like, oh, I don't think they're a bot, let's keep going.
Exactly.
Algorithmically.
Exactly. So a lot of folks like Elton John fear their life because they got death threats, etc., right? They fear their life, and you can't blame someone for fearing their life, right? So
yeah, of course.
And tried to put something that was a little bit more non-political, supported both sides, right?
Yeah. I still think it looks. I mean, I still think it looks weak, personally, especially when people are putting their lives in danger, or not even putting their lives. I mean, there are people who are putting their lives in danger, but there's other people whose lives are in danger and they did not put them there. They're living their lives. You know, they're just living their lives. They're raising a child. They're walking them to school, and there's bullets. And like, one of the things I've been trying to tell people is the July 12th, July 13th, or July 13th, July 14th. There were shooting at Tavush, which is where Koaf has schools. They were firing 150 kilometers away, northwest, away from the disputed lands. So, like, this whole idea of trying to be equal, trying to be politically correct, trying to be like, well, we don't know about the territory, it is a disputed, even if it was true, which it's not at all in any interpretation, except for stupid ones that literally obviate certain realities, like pretty grossly. But even if you believed all of that bullshit, there would be the idea that they fired at Armenia. They fired at a kindergarten. They fired at a PPE facility, at a textile mill where they're making masks. What is the excuse there? What is the justification there? Right? This is why we get upset when people like Elton John pull back, because we're like, we know that you probably don't know the same story we do in totality. You don't know the level of outrage that this really necessitates. But I feel like you knew enough. And I'm a little embarrassed when you see that, and a little heartbroken. The only thing worse than being gaslighted gaslit is to have someone else confirm the gaslighting, because then it's just it's doubled, it's multiplied, it becomes exponential.
No, I totally agree with that. And like you're hitting on the point that's been close to me this year. So my word for this year has been integrity. And I feel a lot of people in the world have lost that. Right? It's it's just a word that gets thrown around, but it's not. When you dig into the actual value of the word integrity, a lot of people have lost it.
Yes.
Right? And a lot of people are not a person of integrity, as harsh as they might sound, right? Doing the right thing when nothing is going for you. Everything is going against your odds, but it's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And that goes to other things, right? Your character, your loyalty, your principles, your values. And I think it, in situations like this, truly goes to show who your friends are and who your allies are, right? In a world that has lost integrity, has lost a sense of direction and guidance, I think right now you're truly seeing who has that and who doesn't, right?
Right.
And the second thing I wanted to touch on is you were talking about,
Well, can I say one thing about integrity while you're trying to regain that thought? Another thing about integrity is that it does talk about immutability, that there's a certain core that is immutable, that it's not changing. You're not going to swivel around in your particular core. It is that thing that is the most intrinsic part of you that you will not negotiate or compromise or change or alter or devolve, whatever verb we want to use here. It's not going anywhere. And you believing in advocating for people's lives and understanding that if these are people who are being killed, when you're advocating on their behalf, you're advocating against people who are killers. Like, so then when you pull away, you're permitting it to some degree. So
a lot of
that's something that I wish Elton John understood. I know maybe he didn't feel like he needed to have his skin in the game, but when you pull back like that, you validate a lot of atrocious people. I know he tried to do his best to find a middle ground. There's no middle ground. There's no, well, they only killed a few Jews. There is no such thing as that.
No. And I think a lot of people are also hiding behind the fact that, oh, I didn't know, or pretending like they didn't know what was going on.
That's what these are for.
It's easier to ignore, right? It's easier to ignore because if you don't ignore it and you know it and you don't do something, you are more embarrassed, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? I think Amal Clooney had a great quote about ISIS. It's, yes, what ISIS did during the Yazidi genocide was devastating, right? But what made it worse is that we knew what was happening and did nothing.
Yep.
Right? And now the purpose of events like this is we're telling you what's happening, right? Yes, I understand there is multiple different media sources that may be opposing what we're saying, but it all comes down to common sense, right? Why would a group of 150,000 people act as aggressors towards Turkey and Azerbaijan, which is 500-fold their size, right? Why? Just ask yourself that question. Why would they? What do we have to gain, right? It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Does a country of 3 million have the weapons and artillery that Turkey and Azerbaijan? No, right? So I think,
and that's assuming that it's just Azerbaijan and Turkey. There's so many other outside parties. I mean, Israel, a country that is predominantly Jewish, that has experienced firsthand, or perhaps secondhand, because of generational things, time, understands what a genocide is like. They've heard the stories of starving to death. They've heard the stories of people like the almost like blood-curdling stories you hear of just inhumanity. And you think Israel would do something, but they are still selling weapons to Azerbaijan. And Israel, the country, Israel, the country, the people of Israel, should be ashamed of that. The same way that Turkish people, Turkish civilians, should be ashamed of Erdogan. It's not a shame on every Turk or a shame on every person who lives in Israel, including the Armenians in Israel and the Greeks in Israel. It's a shame on Israel, on the pages of Israel's tapestry. That will always be there. That they were talking about only selling half the drones to Azerbaijan. And of course, there's geopolitical things. They get oil in return. In return for what?
Right. I mean, just imagine Armenia did something like that. Imagine Armenia did have the weapons of Israel, right? Imagine we gave weaponry to Germany to do another Holocaust towards the Jews.
I would be ashamed forever by that fact if that happened.
It's degrading, right?
The same way that I'm ashamed that America had Japanese internment camps. But we know it happened. Like it's something that we did. For not me personally, obviously, but it's something that's in the tapestry of the country that I call home, that we call home. It's not, you have to stop before it can be forgivable, so Israel really needs to get their shit together with that. And every day that they don't, Israel is going to look worse and worse and worse as a country that is supposedly supposed to be a model of people coming together, of diasporas working together, of essentially a new modern country. They have to stop 4 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the things we have to push.
No, I mean, definitely. And I think just having these discussions really helps, because unfortunately, when things like this happen, yes, they're terrible, they're catastrophic, they're horrible, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel, right? After the storm, there is a rainbow, right? So yeah, this horrific thing has happened, but it is teaching people a lot of things, right? It's bringing up to light a lot of things. A lot of the lobbyist groups that had worked with the Turkish and Azeri governments have dropped them because they didn't realize probably the size of the
Much
issue.
of because of you guys. A lot of it is because of you guys. You guys have very much, it's one of the many things that LA has done really well as of late, and especially Anka. Anka has been amazing, and anyone who doesn't know about Anka, we're at 4,500, by the way. I have no idea when that happened.
I wish I had a voice. I'd sing if we got to 500, but I can only play the piano, and I don't have a piano here. And
You don't just keep a piano on you? Come on.
I have my keyboard up, I can tell you.
I think that was Stella. Wow.
Thank you, Stella. We really
I think Ani's got to drop an album now.
Ani, play background, and I can just open my mouth and close it if that works.
Ventriloquist singing? Okay. Or no, what is it? Lip syncing. Wow, what's wrong with me? Oh my God.
Ventriloquist, probably.
I just give you like the GRE version of it. Some of my friends make fun of me when I do that stuff. I'm like the opposite of an immigrant, someone who like constantly uses these grandiloquent words when like, no, it's blue. It's called blue.
It's blue. It's blue.
I'm like, can you pass me that cerulean pen? And they're just like,
that's the same thing.
What? But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I do want to emphasize, though, is we're living through one of the hardest times right now. But as an Armenian diaspora, as an Armenian people, we have never been this strong. This is the strongest we've ever been, and we will keep getting stronger. This is the most unified we've ever been. You know, historically, Armenians are really good at individual games, right? We're really good as a chess player, as a ping pong player, as a wrestler, but we've never been really good at the team sport, right? Because
we spoke about this on the plane.
We spoke about this on the plane. You're right, and we've never been good at team sports.
12 years ago.
12 years ago. But I think what's happening now is we're seeing the power of our unity, right? Each of us are individually a powerhouse. Each of us have bolts of energy and passion coming out of us every single day to want to do something for Armenia, for Armenians. But imagine putting all that energy together. It would be a cosmic explosion that we're all seeing happening now.
Absolutely.
We're the ones that is allowing the world to hear what's happening. And I don't want anyone to lose this momentum. This needs to be ingrained in our DNA for our future generations. This is going to be.
You have a question, by the way. How much do you think the chaos of the presidential election is going to distract from what's happening? And how do you think we can combat it so our people don't suffer?
Oh, sorry, like moved.
Aw.
I definitely think it is already, right? That's so cute. Thank you, Stella.
Stella's an angel. I couldn't say it enough. Like, Stella is like one of the best humans ever.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Stella. No, I mean, and to Araxi's comment, I mean, I really think, I mean, going back to 1915, right? Turkey used World War I as a, hi Araxi, Turkey used World War I as an opportunity to annihilate the Armenians, right? It's the excuse they used. Oh, you know, they weren't massacred. They just were war.
There was a war.
There was a war. Right?
We had to kill all the women and children and rape them.
Now, there's COVID happening, right? Oh, Armenia's weak. There's elections happening. The world is distracted, right? All these terrorist attacks happening in France and abroad, right? Those are all distractions. And
those are related, by the way. Yeah.
To distract the rest of the world with what's truly happening in Artsakh. I mean, we can. It's now up to us to use those as our ammunition, right? To bring what's happening in Armenia, not use that as a standalone event.
That's one of the problems with hatred. Hatred is if hatred was a type of matter, it would be like a gas. Like it would be something that's constantly moving. It has to go somewhere. It can't just sit still. It has to like occupy the parameters of things. Hatred explodes. It's a flammable thing, and like if someone is being told that the Armenians are such and such, you know, for 20 years, 25 years, they end up being a politician in France, and they're saying like, let's do what we can to basically get at these Armenians, to hurt these Armenians, do anything to these Armenians because they're less than human. It's like, it's not about what the fuck are you thinking about. It's more like, this is exactly what happens. You have these particular thoughts, and when these things happen, we have to ensure that they don't become distractions. They become part of it, because most of the time they are part of it. These are all pan-Turkic, I don't call them mercenaries, but essentially jihadists, in that this is to them a somewhat of a holy war. And Erdogan has said it before. He calls on the other Turkic nations to participate. This is a deeply dangerous man. And NATO and the EU and the UN are going to be fucked if they don't do something sooner rather than later. And it's already happening. And Nicole mentioned this. Or not what I said specifically, but he mentioned to Vienna, like, there's trouble at your doorstep. They didn't listen. And then they have a terrorist attack from people who are educated, or I'll say educated, that's the wrong word. I know I'm an educator, I shouldn't use that word. Indoctrinated in Turkey.
No, I mean,
this is something we have to think about.
And, you know, one thing we as Armenians need to keep emphasizing that, yes, this is happening in Armenia and it's horrible, but if you don't do something about it, this is going to turn into a global issue and affect you tomorrow. That's
100%.
Right? Yes, they're going to say, oh, there's a genocide going on in Ethiopia, in all this stuff. Why should we care? It's the why that we need to keep emphasizing, why it's going to affect you. And I think that's the we need to keep enhancing. So like what Araxi said with what's going on with the elections, how is it distracting people? It's reminding them, hey, these are all distractions. There's something going on, right, behind the scenes. And if you're not aware and alert, it's going to truly affect you one day.
That's a great message to close on.
Come on, guys, we need to get to 500. I swear, if I could sing, we would have
500. We're at
5,000.
It's okay. I've made so many mistakes in this, like pronouncing things incorrectly, and I forgot the word for lip sync, ventriloquist singing. All right, John, I love you so much, and thank you so much for being here. And yeah, I don't know. I'm at hour 3.5 right now, so at the home stretch. One last guest.
You're almost there. Well, enjoy. Good luck, and we're rooting for you. We're rooting for Armenia. We're all here.
Yes. Hachdeluink.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, John. Okay. Hope I'm not doing too sloppily in this. And now, the season finale of day 1. So we're just waiting for Houston to be in the house, which will be right now. Hi, Lily.
Hi, how are you?
How are you? I'm okay. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, on here for a
my
while.
grades were supposed to be turned in 3 days ago, and we're actually supposed to be mailing the grades out. And I'm pretty far behind. I'm gonna work basically right after this. I know, and it's just crazy. Like I told them like this is gonna happen. I'm devastated. I'm destroyed. Blah blah blah. I hope they don't fire me.
Yeah, I hope they don't fire you either. That would be very
Oh,
sad.
they responded back. Don't worry. Do the best you can. Sunday will be fine. That makes me want to cry. I'm gonna look away because I was actually worried about that this whole time. Everyone who was performing or talking. Oh no, Wi-Fi issues.
I know my Wi-Fi is so bad, but I put it on LTE, so I think I'm okay now.
Okay.
Is it better?
So enough of my rambling. Who are you? Where are you? And
Okay.
who is this mysterious Stella woman?
Okay, so I am in Austin, Texas. I'm a UT student. I go to University of Texas, and I study biomedical engineering.
Oh snap!
With a sociology minor, which is because of my mom, Stella, who is the infamous Stella, or not infamous, is that the bad word? Famous Stella, I guess. She's my mom, and is the reason why I fell in love with Hayastan and Armenia and stuff. So kind of why I'm here, I guess. So
Sorry
yeah.
if I'm re-inviting everyone. I wanted to make sure they catch you. Sorry, my friends in Europe who are snoozing, and you keep getting woken up.
It's okay.
Not that
Pause.
many Armenians are sleeping well. I'm certainly not.
Oh, I'm definitely not sleeping well. It's every day is just kind of wake up, figure out what needs to be done. Schoolwork has gone by the wayside as well. Just because it's always every day you're just trying to figure out what to do next, and you feel so far away from everything.
My professor, I'm in grad school again for fun, and I have a final that was due 7 days ago, and he was like, what's going on? Like, this doesn't seem, you seem pretty active. And I just basically said, can we talk? Like, can we call? Can I call you?
Yeah.
He was like, sure. So we had a little FaceTime session, and I just like sobbed to him, and he was like, my TA is Armenian, and, she's told me some things, but I didn't know it was like that.
Yeah.
And this was about 5 days ago that I spoke to him. So like he knows the updated things, like the $100 for cutting our heads off, being paid for slicing an ear off.
Yeah. It's a very heartbreaking thing. And I think one of the hardest things is that because it's not being spoken about every time you as an Armenian speak about it to somebody who is a non-Armenian, it's kind of, there's so much background information to be said that it's a conflict to talk about. So like without sitting down, having a conversation, talking, showing, proving. And I think that's one of the hardest things that's being put in Armenians, because there's just not any like basic media coverage of it. Like not even just basic, we don't have it.
Just like a foundation that you could be, okay, so you know about those things? Okay, well, let's...
Yeah. Okay, so you know how this happened? You're like, you know how the Armenian genocide happened? They're like, did that happen?
You're literally like, okay, so can I just borrow a second of your time? So let's start at page 268. You're like,
okay.
You're like trying to like, you almost feel like those like Jehovah Witnesses or something. Like you're like, let me show you what's happening. Like, let me show you the way.
Please look, please. I'm not lying about this. Yeah. I think that's one of the hardest parts, I think, for us.
Because it's crushing. It's crushing.
Yeah.
Imagine like someone, don't actually imagine it because we already have these in our heads, but someone you love is being like beaten up. Do you know the case of Kitty Genovese?
I think so, but I need a refresher.
So a woman, I think she was in Kew Gardens in Queens, who was stabbed to death publicly and was crying for help, and no one did anything. The report of how many people actually saw varies, but this has happened before, and we've actually call it Genovese syndrome. It kind of reminds me of that, in that we're like, they're shooting at civilians.
Yeah.
They're blowing up a church. Like the church is not harboring military weapons. The maternity hospital where life is given was blown up with artillery. What is the justification of that? There's no military equipment in sight of that area.
Right. Yeah, I think another interesting thing, because you know, I've tried to speak, so in my kind of sense of what's been happening in my like neck of the woods, I guess, with my friends. I've been very lucky to have very open-minded friends who are able to see this information, who are like willing enough, and like and even in like issues and policies in America, right? They're the ones who are quite like active and like with a voice. So I've been very like lucky to have these types of people in my life. But on an occasion that I like talk to someone who immediately comes and brings up these like ideas and like gaslighting that we hear on social media, but they actually believe it, but they're liberals in the States, is kind of a confusing thing to me, because they're such activists, but when it comes to issues that they don't have, you know, profound background on or any information on, they just kind of go based on what they might think is happening. And I think that's kind of where we have a downfall, and like how we like educate ourselves as well. I think it's just like not fair.
I think that talks to Alien's point, the person who was on before you. Like we have to make this stuff pretty simple and digestible, and there's a better word, marketable to the average human. And whether it's that one color, that like that monochromatic like maroon Peace for Armenians hashtag that circulated very well, or just Recognize Artsakh, which is also doing very well these days, or something else, like we have to take advantage or utilize these particular things that are already there for us. What happened in Lyons, and what happened in Vienna, what happened with that Greek priest, these are all part of the same thing, and these are things that non-Armenians are hearing about, and all you need is to say, that's part of the same thing,
right, by
the way. Right. And that's where you get it. You know, I showed one of my Jewish friends the video of them marauding through the streets in the Armenian square in Lyons, and they were like, oh my God, this is like Kristallnacht. And I showed them another video and another video, because now we have like 17 videos of it, because enough time has passed to see it from different perspectives.
Right.
Like that's what it is. That's something relatable. People marauding the streets. One of my coworkers said, that reminds me of the Jews will not replace us. It's like, yeah, that's exactly it. These people don't, these pan-Turkic ultra-nationalist gray wolves are like homophobic beyond belief, sexist beyond belief. The things they said to this female reporter, I think 3-4 years ago, which is caught literally on tape. They're proud to say it. They're very anti-Christian, very anti-Jewish, very anti not the type of Islam that they think they're practicing, which
Exactly.
they're not. This is a group of very hateful, very dangerous people. In places like, I'm glad that France finally made it a law, made it a crime to
Right.
do
And
this kind of thing.
I also think that what is like really interesting is that it's like this conflict has kind of, I think, brought out the fact that like this power and like how power kind of works is that it comes into such little places in our lives that we don't even realize. So like, for example, today there was a protest in Austin, that's what I just came from, for BGR. And so we don't even understand that this company or news outlet BGR, it has ties to Azerbaijan and they're reporting this information. It's like we don't know these background kind of giving money and talks and things, and that's why it's so hard for like the people to, like the Armenians are like the people who are trying to say, hey, listen to us, listen to what's happening to us on the ground, like this is what is happening for real. And then you have all these powerful, you know, corporations that are tied in with country stuff, and that's how this misinformation spreads so rapidly, is because I think it's just that the power, when you have so much power, it's like it kind of like goes into everything beyond what you can even imagine. And I think that going and kind of doing these little action items slowly kind of builds our voice. And I think that that's so important because of the amount of misinformation that's being put out because of the money that is involved in this conflict. It's just heartbreaking. Like, it's just heartbreaking that Armenians are like, we don't have money, we don't have people, we don't have resources, but we're coming together as a diaspora. Most diasporan Armenians haven't even been to Armenia or Artsakh. Like, it's like we have this connection to these people in this land. So it's like a human rights issue. It's not a nationalistic issue. It's not nationalism. It's a love for people, for humanity, you know?
That's what Sergo was saying. Sergo was saying, like, if this isn't handled, it's going to end up, it already has, but it will end up in waves across Europe because they're emboldened. They realize they can get away with things.
Exactly.
And this is, again, I'll say it again, and I would gladly publicly debate anyone who dares to disagree with this truth. This behavior is is a shame on every single person under Erdogan's Turkey and every single person under Aliyev's Azerbaijan, including the Armenians, including the Armenians there.
Yeah.
Just like everything Trump does is to a degree a shame that is put on all Americans.
Exactly.
All Americans, myself included. I didn't vote for him, but it's a shame to some degree upon me. Same thing with George Bush. Like, and with Obama, things I disagree with Obama. All those things, they become a piece of me. So it has to be universal. It has to be thorough. And the thing about it really, and if you don't mind, you're young enough that I can ask this very easily. How old are you?
I am 21.
You're 21. And just from our conversation, you embody what a lot of Armenians have been, I don't want to say forced, but pushed to become, like a historian. Talk to me about the Caucasus. Like, let's go. And why that's not the word that we use. We use Armenian Highlands for a particular reason. Or a financier, or like a fundraiser, an economist. I know what the Turkish lira was in 2008, and I know what it is right now. Yeah. Why am I keeping such a crazy tally of it? And Azerbaijan's economy is a little easier to manipulate. Humanitarian, literally every single thing that we're doing. This conversation is rooted in the humanitarian aspect.
Yeah.
What you're doing, investigative journalism. Why is a 21-year-old Armenian American Texan who should be just learning and moving forward in her young career, why are you becoming an investigative journalist? You know, I'm not making fun. If anything, I'm throwing trophies at all of us. Like, why are you becoming a marketer? Aline's thing was amazing. She wouldn't talk about how phenomenal it was, so I had to keep throwing the numbers out. Aline's and her team's campaign with the Peace for Armenians is phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's the
But what
thing.
we have to do is ensure that we get the non-Armenians involved, because there's maybe 12 to 15 million of us around the world. We need to do everything we can to make sure the politicians, the organizations, and the people, the communities know. Can you tell us a little bit about why you went to this particular protest and who these individuals are?
Yeah, so Sofia Manjoyan, she's one of the main people who came up with this protest. She's a big Texas Armenian who is doing a lot for us. And at the protest, it was kind of just, it was in front of their offices. And we had, even though it wasn't a lot of foot traffic in front of us, even though there were still a couple people who would come and talk to us, and when they left they were like, wow, I'm really for this and I support you guys. And like, just having one or two people that kind of like these protests, even though they might not seem like they're doing much if they're on a small scale, like a small 10 people protest, this was like a 10 person, and this was like 20 people in front of a building today. But just that we like got out to maybe 5 to 10 other people who are going to get out to more people. And I think just like that, you know, these simple kind of explanations about why does this company need to drop Azerbaijan as like somebody who gives them money? Like, why is that so necessary for human rights? And it's like, just explaining that to somebody, they'll be like, oh yeah, of course. And then suddenly they become interested. And like, all that needs to be done is just that there needs to be more information. Like you were saying, investigative journalism, it shouldn't even be investigative. It should just be like fact and truth. And that's, I think, the saddest part. Because like, I always have thought, you know, in the past when we didn't have social media and such great access to information, right? At our fingertips nowadays, we have the internet, we have every source, we have every kind of source and bias and whatever. We can figure it out for ourselves. And the fact that there are still people who choose not to go that extra step, not to listen to what we are saying, that's just heartbreaking. So these kind of direct conversations are also so fantastic, which is why I think, you know, the people that, it was just like 15 Armenian Texans just, you know, peacefully protesting, saying, hey, like, listen to us. And the people that did, they did. And they listened and they were like, I'm so sorry, we didn't know about this. Like, I'm going to go.
And they'll look it up.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll go home.
And they'll find some shit.
Yeah. You know, and like,
Lil, why don't you and I, so you know I'm a teacher, why don't we do my favorite thing as a teacher, which is modeling. It's sampling, it's showing them how it's done. So here, I'll tell you an idea, maybe you can tell me one of your ideas, and we'll qualify them. Maybe it's a great idea, maybe it's a small idea. One of the things that Aline was talking about in her previous thing, which we should all think about and remember forever, is say the idea, say your idea. It might be pretty good to you. It might be fucking phenomenal to everyone else. And sorry, Stella, that I'm cursing in front of your daughter like this. I apologize. And sorry, Lil. Obviously, the passion.
Yes.
So here's an idea I have. We take some of these organizations that amazing people like Fred or Goliath the Great, or Doug Great now since they froze his account, which is crazy. And all these different entities. Why don't we, instead of having to explain everything, why don't we just say that they are doing whatever they're doing, but instead of to killers, to Erdogan or to Aliyev, Hitler? Why not just say, and I'll give a random example. Actually, I shouldn't because I could be libeled or this could be considered slander. X company, did you know X company supports Hitler and have Hitler you could write Hitler in small letters. People catch that word or that name. And then instead of that, the next slide, it's like, well, not the Hitler you know about, this Hitler. And you
Right.
can have a juxtaposition, and I've made it, I've had it translated. I think that's something that would be pretty good. I mean, Hitler and Erdogan have a lot of commonalities. It's not just their ugly mustaches.
So many.
It's not just their mustaches.
Not their facial structure.
I mean, they're both high school dropouts. Like there's quite a few things, or they're purported to be high school dropouts, despite other things. What do you think of that idea? Just like, did you know that such and such supports Hitler
Yeah, I mean, I
and
think
genocide?
that's definitely a big thing that when people understand Hitler, people understand like it's like almost like a universal truth that was a bad situation, and like people are so easy to say, oh, I just cannot imagine how the Holocaust could have ever happened. And the thing is that I always say this situation now is 100 years of a genocide ignored. If people knew the facts, and if it was taught in the way that the Holocaust is taught and this was happening, it wouldn't even be a question. We wouldn't have to be yelling every single day, being like, guys, listen to us. And that's kind of what we talk, like what I was talking to you about the other day or yesterday or whenever, when I like was thinking about, like, for example, the genocide.
The days blend together, they really do.
The Genocide Museum in Hayasan, the Tsitsanakap, right? They're the main center for all information based on the Armenian genocide. They're the ones who need, they're the ones who have the facts that support our claims and are like, hey, this is what's happening and this is why it's happening and this is geopolitical reasons and blah, blah, blah. Like, we have to support these, like, I think, like, there's like two ways to go around kind of dealing with this issue. One of them is to get on the kind of like level of social interaction. So bringing in somebody like Hitler is supporting XYZ company, but this is modern day Hitler, like kind of that in social media, as well as kind of thinking about long-term things of how are we going to let this never happen again? Like what's happening? Like what are we going to do? You know what I mean?
Well, we're clearly succeeding on the tweeting and the emailing. We just broke 5,000. Oh my God.
Yay! That's fantastic.
Yeah. That's awesome. That wasn't, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm honestly amazed. I mean, I know how impressive, Armenians can be. It's just when you see it all funneled together, because we are all, I don't know what the word is, but like, it's kind of like manic. It's like you're manic. Your mind, people, manic depression, people think depression is sad and manic is happy. It's not. It's more like you're overcharged versus you're undercharged.
Yeah.
Every Armenian right now is like, the bulb is so bright, it's going to break. I was going to curse again, but I didn't. You hear that, Stella? I didn't curse. That's what every Armenian's like. So like, Ani is singing on multiple Instagram lives. Like there's like somehow I think honestly my best quality by far is my ability to like get a lot of people in one room somehow. Like to just know a lot about someone only if I actually care for them. I'm really good at forgetting people I don't care about. And sometimes I won't care about someone until I know enough. And then I know everything about them and what excites them. The amount of connecting and networking that I've had the chance of doing, I had no idea I was capable of this. The same way that seeing people like Lavash Life create like constant memes and give us like some moment of laughter, and everything. Like you're seeing every Armenian in maximum overdrive.
Right.
Maximum overdrive.
Exactly.
And I hope that, not that we have to be like this for a long time or anything, but that we're conscious that this can happen anytime. That even when we win this war, that we have to continue.
Exactly.
We had the artist Vartsak. It was like 20 incredible musicians raising millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
How are we doing this? How
Yeah.
are we succeeding in 187,000 different ways, and
Yeah.
it's still going
And it's
on?
still going, and it's still like people don't know about it. And it's been how many weeks now? I don't even know. And I
Six.
6 weeks
Six exactly.
weeks in which every day Armenians are like posting on their socials, and they're saying, hey, this is a humanitarian issue, it's not an Armenian issue. And I think that that's another big thing. It's that this is basic human crimes that are happening just across the ocean, and
Yes.
and
And can come here. Like we see
and
it spreading anyway.
and can spread over there too, and spread over here by us in America. Like the thing is that when it's not close to home, people don't seem to care, and that's understandable because it's not
Then we
happening.
have
But
we have to build the shortest bridge.
exactly.
That's what it's all about. This is why I think the Hitler thing, I remember someone made a thing about who said it. Was it Hitler or was it Taylor Swift? And I remember being like, what? And I looked at it and it was like either things about Jews or things about their ex-boyfriend. But like you can't really tell sometimes. And
Yeah.
like I'm not like a scholar of Hitler. I mean, I know more about him than I did a month ago, just because of just reading through some of the things he said.
Mhm.
Literally, I mean, like the phraseology of why he said it this way, like when they were going to capture Poland. Um, all these different aspects. We have to build the shortest possible bridge. Maybe who said it? Hitler or this asshole?
Yeah, exactly. Like things that of that sort that get people to understand that we're not just making it up as Armenians, and also it's an Armenian, oh, and it's the Armenian bias. No, it's like I always tell my friends, I'm not fighting this just because I'm an Armenian. I'm connected to my people, and I'm connected to the culture, and I love I love everyone so much in my culture and my family, blah blah blah. No, I'm also fighting this because I believe in like humanity, and I believe in like the right to live, and the right to like to live in the place that you've always lived in, and to peacefully live there. And like
Yeah, the privilege.
anyone who believes that a human should peacefully live in their home should be on this side.
Yeah,
And
it shouldn't be a privilege
exactly, exactly, it should
to just exist
exactly
peacefully.
a privilege to just like exist without someone coming to kill you at your door.
Going back to what Ani said, like if this is their land, why are they bombing it?
Why are
Or
they
go, Johnny.
it's like, to me it's like, why are they, if this is their land, like for me it was always like this, why don't you ask the people who are living in that land what they want?
Yeah,
That's how it should be.
they
Because
did.
otherwise
They did.
exactly. And then they said, oh no, we're Armenians, and they were like, no you're not, okay. War. Like it's ridiculous. It's just this idea, it's literally just about power and taking over people for for money, for wealth, for land.
I think it's ignoring their inevitable fall. That's what I think it is. More than the actual pan-Turkism, I think it's more trying to ignore their inevitable fall. I
Right.
genuinely feel that. I also feel that we're going to win not only because of the bravery and insanely like incredible skills of our soldiers.
Right.
And like we see some of that stuff. That's unbelievable. Like the odds and still the victories.
I know.
It makes me so, and I know I don't deserve to feel the champion feel that they have. It's like when you
Yeah.
see an Armenian succeed, you get that vicarious celebration and pride. Uh,
Exciting.
yeah, it feels like you're the one gunning down that drone that Israel sold to you, sold to them. Uh, I wanna end this by one more time reiterating that the purpose of this was to broadcast to the world. I didn't want to say what my financial goal was for this because I honestly didn't really have one. This was more of a let's spread this around. And tomorrow we're going to do it again. Another 8 or 9 cities across the world. Beautiful people, incredible people. And I hope that everyone who's watching tunes in tomorrow too. And I want to say I'm just so impressed, like 21 years old and like becoming like just all the different tasks and jobs and hats you have to wear right now.
Thank you. I mean, all of us are doing it. Like, I mean, doesn't matter
Everyone's
what,
doing it.
everyone's doing it. We're all in it together. Couldn't
That's
do
so
it.
funny. You make it sound like breaking your back, trying to like fix a international conflict is like such a trend. If only it was actually a trend though, that everyone
I
was like, you know
know.
what? Armenia,
Yeah,
they've got it right.
said, oh my gosh, everybody support Armenia. We would be so
The
good.
Turks did what? Like,
Yeah, like.
oh man. John, I just want to say again that I love you. I love your family. Your mother is like to me, an angel. It says I have 25 seconds left. So instead of being kicked out, let's just say good night.
Good night.
Love
Love you.
and we will win. Love you too,
We'll
Jenny.
win. Okay.
Good night, everyone. Thank you so much.